Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Hinata confesses his love to Naruto part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto Uzumaki smiled as he walked through the streets of Konoha. He had just returned to the village after his successful mission to bring Tsunade of the Sannin back to the village. Bachan was currently meeting with the elders about the inauguration. Naruto had tried to go to that meeting, but had been kicked out. How could those two fossils tell Naruto that this meeting does not concern genin of no standing? Wasn't Naruto pretty much a shoo-in for Rokudan? Whatever. I'll go check in with the rest of the gang. I bet Sakura-chan will be thrilled that Bachan will be able to help Sasuke. Then, bushy brows will be up and running again. Man, Bachan's actually going to be useful. Naruto! A girl called out from behind him. Naruto turned to face the voice when he was practically tackled by bushy brows weapon-using teammate. Tenten? Naruto asked while hoping he got the name right. Need something? Is it true? Tenten pleaded with Naruto. There were clearly stars in her eyes. What? Naruto squawked. Tsunade-sama is back in the village? Tenten squealed. Yeah, I brought Bachan back to the village. She's meeting with those stuck-up elders now. Naruto grinned. That's so great. She'll be able to heal Lee. Tenten's face suddenly fell. I just wish Neji was around. I think he'd like to hear about your mission. He admires you, Naruto. Really? Neji admires me? Naruto repeated Tenten's last statement as a question. He didn't use the word admire though. You've seen Neji. He's a genius, so his actual words were a lot more poetic. I need to thank you for whatever you did when you beat him in the Chunin exam finals. Tenten had a dreamy look on her face as the two genin started walking towards the center of town. You two started dating, didn't you? Naruto snickered when Tenten turned bright red. Tenten nodded. It's been great. But that has made the last couple of days really hard. No one has seen Neji or Hinata in a while. I was on my way to meet with some of the gang we took the Chunin exams with to talk about it. There was something very off about this entire situation. The Konoha 12, as the youngest genin teams of Naruto's generation had been named, rarely gathered into one large group. In fact, all 12 had only been in the same room a handful of times. First was the initial stage of the Chunin exams, where Marino Ibiki sadistically tested their information-gathering skills and their resolve. The second, and final time, had been for the preliminary rounds of the finals tournament. Naruto knew that the only complete team that truly hung out together outside of missions was Team 10. The second generation of the Ino Shikacho had always been friends. Naruto occasionally hung out with Kiba and Shino or Shikamaru and Chuji. The fact that Naruto socialized more with the other teams than his own hurt a bit. Thus, having a good chunk of the group get together was really unusual. So, what exactly is going on? I know Hinata was in kind of rough shape from her fight with Neji, but I talked to her before my match with Neji. Hinata was training then, so I thought she was fine. Neji wasn't too hurt during our match and I didn't hear about him getting hurt during the invasion, Naruto said as he threw his hands behind his head. I was right. Something is very wrong here. I hope Hinata's okay. Tenten and Naruto reached a relatively new casual dining restaurant. Kiba, Shino, Ino and Chuji were sitting at a table. Kiba motioned Naruto and Tenten over. Glad to see you back, Naruto, Kiba greeted. Naruto smiled back. Thanks. Hey Kiba, you up for a rematch sometime? The Inuzuka smiled and nodded. Shino rapped his knuckles on the table. I am relieved for your safe return, Uzumaki-san. I assume Tenten-san has informed you of the mysterious situation concerning our Hyuga comrades? Naruto took a seat. No one has seen Neji or Hinata for a while. I was actually going to try to meet up with them later. The whiskered genin wanted to thank Hinata for her pep talk and make sure she saw him knock some sense into Neji, like Naruto had promised. Naruto also wanted to let Neji know their problems would stay in the past if Neji started treating Hinata like family. I've even gone by the Hyuga compound a few times to see how Hinata was feeling. The guards wouldn't let me see Hinata, Ino confessed. It was widely known that the three rookie kunoichi had struck up a friendship over the month interlude between the preliminary matches and the finals. That clan is still probably a bit paranoid with Kumo's second attempt to kidnap Hinata, Kiba growled. Naruto looked up in shock. What? They tried again? A pair of Kumo ninja took advantage of the invasion and attempted to kidnap Hinata. Neji, Kiba, and I helped Hiashi-sama stop them. Hiashi-sama didn't stay long. He had to leave to command the defenses at the Hyuga compound. Orochimaru's forces made a big push to secure the Byakugan, Tenten explained. Chuji swallowed a huge bite of food. Sound made a big push on all the clan compounds. Our dads also had to fight off a big group of Sound and Sand ninja to protect our clan's secrets. We were fighting a war, Naruto said in a small but powerful voice. We won and will grow stronger for it. Ino blinked a few times before tapping Naruto on the shoulder to make sure some stranger wasn't wearing a Naruto transformation. Wow, that was profound, Naruto. I'm impressed. Naruto grinned cheekily at the compliment. As shockingly eloquent as Naruto's statement was, our initial queries have not been answered. What is the situation in the Hyuga clan, and why have our teammates and friends not contacted us or our sensei in any form or fashion? Shino interrupted. Naruto glared at the Aburame for a second. After a moment, he sighed and looked up. I'm going to find Bachan. There are a few things I was going to ask her about anyways. If anyone can help us find out what's going on with Hinata and Neji, it's her. Wait, when did you get a grandmother? Chuji nearly choked on his rice. She's not really my grandmother. She's just old enough to be, Naruto confessed. So, who is she? Kiba asked as he sneaked Akamaru a chicken wing. Naruto shrugged. Just Tsunade. Gah, I hope she isn't angry that it's been a few days since she's been able to gamble. Just Tsunade? The other genin screeched in shock at Naruto's casual and less than flattering description of one of the Sannin. Yeah. Naruto didn't catch the looks of shock and disbelief on his friends' faces. I'm going to track her down. You want me to get an autograph or something, Tenten? Hell yes. Tenten squealed in anticipation. Oh, and find out what is going on with Neji. I miss him. Make sure Tsunade-sama helps Lee. And tell her she's my hero. Naruto waved off the now fangirling Tenten. Anyone else have a request for our next Hokage? Once again, everyone's jaws dropped at Naruto's causal relationship with one of the legendary Sannin. No one could say anything and only shook their heads. I'll just tell Bachan you said hi then. Naruto waved to his friends and exited the restaurant. He was only a couple of steps out the door when he heard Kiba shout. Naruto has to be related to the Hokages. Nobody should be so buddy-buddy with them. Tsunade had never been so grateful to be freed from a meeting in her life. She had sat through meetings with her creditors that were less stressful. Tsunade was as familiar with the role of Hokage as anyone living in Konoha. The accusations that Tsunade lacked a sense of decorum were insulting. I'm the granddaughter of the Shodai and the grandniece of the Naidame. I think I know the protocols. Tsunade fumed. Tsunade-sama, I'm sure the elders were just following their own set of protocols. Shizen attempted to calm her master and friend. The slug Sannin snorted. They think they can push me around. I've seen creditors wield more subtlety than those two fossils. I'm going to need some hot sake and a place to relax for a bit. That'll have to wait, Bachan. Tsunade felt a vain twitch in her forehead at the sound of her most hated nickname. I am the Godame Hokage brat. Naruto only smiled warmly as Tsunade spun around. Despite the anger in Tsunade's voice, there was a smile on her lips. What do you want? A couple of things, actually. Naruto fished out a small notebook. Shizen gulped and hoped that Naruto wasn't beginning to follow in Jiraiya's footsteps. One of my friends wants an autograph. You're her hero, Tsunade beamed. No one's asked for my autograph in years. Hell yes. Sure, what's her name? Tenten, Naruto said and accepted the notebook back. There's more and it's all urgent. Well, start talking. I've got a lot to take care of at the hospital. Your friends need patching up, don't they? Tsunade started down the stairs. Naruto and Shizen fell in step with the legendary medic. Shizen followed at a respectful distance, but Naruto walked beside Tsunade as if he were her equal. Sasuke, bushy brows, and Kakashi-sensei got hurt pretty badly, Naruto mentioned offhandedly. He wasn't worried about his friends and teacher now. Naruto had faith in Tsunade. I know they'll be fine with you here. You may be a loud-mouthed gambling addict, but you sure as hell know your medical ninjutsu. Tsunade didn't know whether she should clobber the brat or hug him. Jiraiya had told Tsunade about Naruto's tendency to act casually with the people he trusted completely. I hope I'm worthy of that trust, Naruto. There is something else on your mind, Naruto. The younger blonde loudmouth nodded. He recognized that Tsunade had just read him like a book. Two of my friends haven't been seen in a while, Hinata and Neji Hyuga. I met with some of the other Konoha 12. We think the Hyuga are still freaking out about Kumo trying to steal the Byakugan again. Problem is, they won't even let us talk to Hinata or Neji. I'll look into it as soon as I've finished my rounds at the hospital, the fifth promised the boy. You'll succeed me one day, Naruto, Tsunade thought proudly as Naruto recounted the experiences of his friends during the invasion. You'll make your father and your ancestors so very proud. Sakura sat at Sasuke's bedside praying for a change in his condition. There had been no change, but Sakura had still visited every day. I'm coming in, a woman's voice that Sakura didn't recognize drifted into the room. The pinkette was on her feet in an instant to properly greet Sasuke's guest. May I help you? Sakura asked politely. Sakura-chan. Tsunade-bachan is going to heal Sasuke. Naruto burst into the room to reassure Sakura. Sakura nodded once before turning to Tsunade. Gai-sensei informed me of your skill. Please, help Sasuke-kun. Sakura bowed and pleaded with Tsunade. Naruto smiled as he watched Tsunade go to work. He remembered how quickly Tsunade had healed his injuries after the fight with that bastard Kabuto. Naruto would give up ramen if Sasuke wasn't up and about within a minute after Tsunade finished her jutsu. Uzumaki Naruto knew he had much better luck with bets than Tsunade. When Sasuke stirred and sat up, Naruto's grin threatened to split his face in two. Sasuke, WL Naruto started to greet his teammate and friend. Sasuke-kun. Sakura threw herself at the barely conscious Uchiha and cried uncontrollably. At least she's happy. Naruto smiled softly before walking out of the room. Shizen's concerned look went unnoticed. Tsunade smiled approvingly, but was not aware of Naruto's pang of disappointment. I guess he can take other people's feelings into account. The Hokage followed Naruto to the next room. Tsunade healed Kakashi quickly, but spent most of the time assuring Guy that she would examine Rock Lee. Good to see you up again, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto laughed happily. The whiskered genin went out of his way to cheer up Kakashi. Tsunade had torn Kakashi a new one while healing the masked jonin. It's good to be back, Naruto. Kakashi smiled at Naruto's somewhat successful attempt. We'll talk about stepping up Team 7's training when Sasuke and I get out of here. Heck yeah! Naruto pumped his fist. He saw Guy ringing the curtain surrounding Kakashi-sensei's bed. Next, onto bushy brows, Guy was wide-eyed from a combination of hope, distress, and impatience. Please, Tsunade-sama. You must help my precious student Rock Lee. Might Guy and Naruto led Tsunade through the halls. The slug Sannin was familiar with the hospital, but was content to allow her too excitable ninja to guide her to Lee. Lee! We have brought Tsunade-sama, Guy announced gleefully. Tsunade took a good look at the young man. Lee was truly Guy's apprentice. It took only a second to realize that Lee would not recover with just medical ninjutsu. The boy would need invasive surgery and a lengthy physical recovery. This is your disciple? Tsunade asked. Guy pumped his fist. This is my precious student, Rock Lee. Naruto, don't you have some other appointment? Tsunade reminded Naruto. Yeah, I need to meet Iruka-sensei. Naruto turned to leave. Wait. What about Hinata and Neji? We need to figure out what's going on with them. I'll check into it after I examine Lee, Tsunade promised. Naruto wished everybody good luck before speeding off to visit his favorite academy teacher. Who knows? Maybe Iruka-sensei has heard something about Hinata and Neji? I'm sorry, Naruto. I haven't seen Hinata or Neji since the invasion. Though Iruka tapped his chopsticks against his bowl of ramen. Though what, Iruka-sensei? You've got to tell me. Hinata and Neji are my friends and everyone is really worried about them. Naruto pressed hard. Iruka sighed. Remember the lessons on clan politics? Something about how the Hokage can't get involved in clan stuff unless it threatens the village or something. Naruto recited what he remembered. Iruka beamed that his favorite student actually remembered an academic lesson from the academy. Exactly. I've heard that the Hyuga are going through some political upheavals at the moment. Orochimaru hit the compound hard, Iruka reported. How can politics throw up? Naruto cocked his head to the side in utter confusion. The Hyuga aren't throwing up. That's heaving, Naruto. Upheaval is when something gets shaken up and changes, Iruka explained with a laugh. So, things shouldn't be too bad? I'm not going to have to get the 12 together and rescue them, am I? The young man asked after draining his bowl of broth. Iruka cracked up. I don't think you'll have to do anything so rash, Naruto. Sure. Though, it would help me fulfill my promise to Neji, and I'm sure Hinata wouldn't mind too much if the 12 helped me clean house, Naruto said confidently. What did you promise Neji? Iruka asked curiously. Oh, that I'd help get rid of the Hyuga curse seal when I'm Hokage. The whole thing is a load of bullshit. Hinata's going to be the next head of the Hyuga, so she'll help out, Naruto stated his goal simply. Iruka hurriedly changed the subject. The teacher actually agreed with Naruto and Neji's ambition, but Iruka didn't want Naruto to make an enemy of the Hyuga clan. Naruto excitedly told him about his mission to retrieve Tsunade. Iruka nearly had a heart attack when Naruto talked about his fight with Kabuto. The pair parted ways in a great mood. Iruka was incredibly proud of Naruto's growth as both a person and a ninja. Naruto was grateful to be receiving recognition for his efforts. He was still a bit upset that Sakura-chan had not even said a word to Naruto. So much for asking her out, Naruto thought glumly as he walked up the stairs towards his apartment. Immediately, something struck him as wrong. Naruto broke out into a sprint, and saw that his door had been forced open. Shit! Naruto drew a kunai and summoned a pair of clones. The original and one of the clones took up positions on each side of the door. The remaining shadow clones stormed the room. Naruto expected to hear the pop of a dispelling clone. Instead, he heard a loud groan followed by the clone cursing up a storm. Naruto pushed aside the door, and his heart fell as he looked at his apartment. It had been ransacked. Naruto could barely remember the last time his apartment had been vandalized. Damn it, Naruto groaned as he summoned more shadow clones to clean up and make sure nothing was stolen. The process did not take long thanks to the clones. Naruto was infinitely grateful that everything he owned was still present. I'll tell Iruka-sensei, Ero-sennin, and Bachan about this tomorrow. Naruto groaned as he flopped onto his bed. He was about to drift off to sleep when there was a knock at his door. The attack on his apartment had made Naruto cautious. He was nervous, so he summoned another clone. The clone drew a brace of shuriken and hid out of sight. Naruto walked to the door. Who is it? Naruto asked through the door. It's me, Naruto-kun. Hinata's voice was barely audible through the door. Naruto flung open the door. Hinata! Are you okay? I've been worried about you. Heck, everyone is worried about you and Neji. Are you alright? Do you need my help? Naruto fired off half a dozen sentences in a single breath. Hinata, do not forget, you only have 20 minutes. A Hyuga Naruto didn't recognize sneered at the distraught girl. The tone was identical to Neji's during the preliminary match. Don't talk to her like that. I'm sure you remember what happened to the last Hyuga who talked to Hinata like that. Naruto growled. The Hyuga guard twitched and was about to grab Hinata when she stepped forward. And Naruto-kun, can we talk inside? There's something I have to tell you. Naruto nodded once and invited Hinata in. The Hyuga guards started to follow Hinata in. I invited Hinata in, not you jackasses. Hinata had a faint smile as Naruto slammed the door. For a moment, Hinata allowed herself the fantasy that Naruto would let her stay forever. The clan would never allow that, of course, but it was a comforting fantasy. So, Hinata, what do you need to tell me? Naruto asked as he pulled up a seat for Hinata. Hinata wiped away a few tears. There is so much I want. No, I have to tell you, because I'll never get another chance. This is the last time we'll ever see each other, Naruto-kun. Naruto stared at Hinata in shock for several seconds. What are you talking about? Of course we'll see each other again. I mean, Iruka-sensei said your clan is going through some upheavals or whatever, but that will work itself out, won't it? I am so sorry, Naruto-kun. And my father is no longer head of the Hyuga. The council revoked his title because of the losses we suffered during the invasion. Hinata choked up and started crying. Naruto was suddenly overwhelmed by the urge to simply be there for Hinata. He was incredibly confused by this strange and sudden urge. Naruto and Hinata had never really been close before the Chunin exams. The only real memory he had of Hinata before the exams was how shy and kind she was. This sudden urge to protect her was fresh. In fact, it still confused the hell out of Naruto. So, without really thinking, Naruto simply hugged the distraught girl. Keep talking. I can't help if I don't know what's going on, Naruto whispered gently. Hinata sniffled a bit. I am being sealed in 1 week. The Hyuga Council has barred me from ever leaving the compound. Hanabi will be the new heiress. Hinata once again broke down. They can't do that. Naruto shouted. What the hell gives them the right? The council, they can't have anyone loyal to my father in positions of power. Hinata sobbed into Naruto's shoulder. We have a week. We can make this right, Naruto promised. I wish I could be as confident as you. That's why Hinata closed her eyes and paused. What is it, Hinata? The softness in Hinata's tone caught Naruto off guard. Naruto felt a heat in his cheeks that he had never felt before. Hinata pulled herself away and took several deep breaths. Do I remember our conversation before your match with Neji Nizan? Hinata forced herself to look Naruto in the eyes. This is the moment I have dreamed of. I cannot falter, Naruto nodded. You said I was a proud failure, and had the strength to keep going. Naruto paused. You also mentioned intense feelings of the heart. I did, Hinata said, and looked away with a shy smile on her face. Naruto matched Hinata's smile. She wasn't crying anymore, which was an infinite improvement. What did you mean by that? Naruto gulped. He had a feeling of where this was leading. Hinata's face shot up. She wore the same look of determination she had when she stood up to Neji. I love you, love? Naruto stammered. He had just realized that Hinata liked him, but love? That had been completely unexpected. Me? No one has ever told me that. How do I even respond to that? Hinata's a great friend and an amazing person, but I love you, Naruto-kun, Hinata repeated. I have always admired you. The Chunin exams, that was when I knew that I loved you. I nearly gave up when Ibiki-san told us about the 10th question. Your words gave me hope that I could accomplish my goal of changing myself. I realized how hopelessly I loved you during my fight with Neji. After all the years of waiting, I found the courage I never had before. I was so glad that you helped me realize my own self-worth, even if I only had it for a little while. You've always been worth something, Naruto said with quiet conviction. But do I deserve your love? Naruto's question caught Hinata completely off guard. What do you mean? You nearly died, Hinata-chan. If I hadn't kept yelling for you, you wouldn't have taken that second blow to the heart. That's why I didn't visit in the hospital. I was terrified that you hated me. Our conversation at Training Ground 3 meant a lot. I knew then that I hadn't lost one of my few friends. That meant as much to me as the confidence you gave me before my fight with Neji. Naruto pinned Hinata in place with an intense, but vulnerable stare. I don't know my feelings for you yet, but you deserve so much more. Calling you Hinata-chan is the least I can do. Hinata brought her hand to her mouth. He called me Hinata-chan. I have one less regret now. I could never hate you, Naruto-kun. Thank you, Hinata-chan, Naruto said simply. Our time is nearly up. I wish this could have lasted forever. Oh, how I wish this could have lasted forever. Hinata shook away her tears. I have one last gift, my love. Again, the depth of Hinata's feelings stunned Naruto. No one had ever been so outspoken in their love for him. Naruto found he could only watch Hinata place a scroll on his table. Hinata gently placed a hand on Naruto's cheek. He was so emotionally overwhelmed, he couldn't react to the physical contact. When Hinata kissed him, Naruto could only melt into it. It is too much too soon. This isn't fair. I don't think I'll ever get a second chance at this. Naruto's mind raced. The two Hyuga guards entered the room and hissed at the sight. I think we've indulged this farce long enough, the first Hyuga sneered. The second guard grabbed Hinata by the shoulder and pulled her away. Naruto was ripped away from the moment. The conflicting bliss and pain was replaced by rage. Where do you think you're taking her? To the compound. Do not interfere, Uzumaki, the taller guard ordered. The hell you are! Naruto roared. Hinata froze in place. He is doing this for me. Yudai and I are jonin. Would you risk your life, your future, to oppose us? The taller Hyuga asked disdainfully. Damn right I would. Naruto felt the Kyuubi's chakra flow from the seal. He's tapping into the Kyuubi's chakra. Stop him, Junichi! Yudai bellowed. Junichi activated his Byakugan without hand seals. 8 trigrams, 64 palms. Junichi, in his fear, did not use the formal name for the devastating Juken technique. Hinata screamed Naruto's name and struggled against Yudai's grip. We must leave. The council must be informed of this. The last image Naruto saw before slipping into unconsciousness was Hinata struggling against her captors and begging them to let her help Naruto. The last word to escape Naruto's lips was her name. Pain racked Naruto's body, as his chakra points began the process of forcing themselves open. The emotionally and physically devastated young man clawed over to the nearest chair. Naruto pulled himself up and looked at the clock. 4 hours. Naruto grimaced and stared at his open door. It's been 4 hours since those bastards stole her. The agony of what had occurred racked Naruto's body. The shock of Hinata's confession and predicament transcended purely emotional pain and became physical. The words "I love you" had always been something Naruto dreamed of hearing. Though, it had always been Sakura-chan in his dreams. Truthfully, Naruto realized Sakura-chan would never return his feelings for him. Sakura's heart belonged totally and completely to Sasuke. Naruto finally accepted Sasuke's victory when Sakura had thrown herself at the Uchiha in the hospital without a second's thought for Naruto. Is Hinata-chan's love for me that strong? How could it be? I nearly killed her. Why me? What have I done to deserve anyone's love? Naruto screamed in frustration and swiped at the scroll on the table next to him. He had to lash out at something. Something had to pay for Naruto's failure to stop those two Hyuga bastards from taking Hinata. What did I do that for? Hinata gave me that scroll. Naruto cursed at himself and shot out of the chair. His entire body was still numb from the 8 trigrams, 64 palms, but Naruto pressed on. The scroll had been knocked under Naruto's beside table. Naruto fumbled for the scroll and sighed in relief that it had not been damaged. The scroll was made of the finest materials. This thing probably costs more than my stove and fridge combined, Naruto said in shock. Our worlds are so different. Why did she choose me? Naruto looked at the handwriting on the outside of the scroll. It was firm and regal. There was no way this could be from Hinata. Naruto could never picture her handwriting being so masculine. Wait, is this from Neji? Naruto opened the scroll and was shocked by the length of the letter. Uzumaki Naruto, if this letter has arrived in your possession, then my eldest daughter has concluded her private affairs with you. The clan council granted her leave to visit a single comrade outside the walls of our proud ancestral home. Of all her comrades and associates in Konoha, she chose you. I am aware that I possess shortcomings as a father. I take full responsibility for my personal failings. I, perhaps, was not the ideal father for Hinata, but I was not unobservant. Hinata's abiding affections for you were not unknown to me. Uzumaki Naruto, I do not presume to know you personally. However, I observed your character in your match against my beloved brother's son, Neji. I see within you the fire and considerate nature of your parentage. The laws of the recently passed Sandaime Hokage bar me from revealing the truth of your heritage, so do not press me on this front. My observations lead me to believe that you will not cruelly dismiss or reject my beloved Hinata's confession. If, however, I discover that you made a mockery of my daughter's love, then you will earn my undying enmity. Oh God, we aren't even dating yet, and he's already threatening to kill me, Naruto said with a gulp before continuing to read. Hinata undoubtedly informed you of the political situation facing the Hyuga clan. I do not harbor any ill will towards the clan council for revoking my stewardship of the clan. I failed in my duties to safeguard the clan during Orochimaru's invasion. The clan suffered grievous casualties in battle. It was only through the providence of heaven that the enemy did not secure any prisoners or Hyuga corpses. Uzumaki Naruto, I know you will seek the Godaime Hokage's aid. The only individuals I ask for you to seek justice for are Hinata and Neji. The clan council seeks to punish them harshly for my failings. I ask that you save them. I dearly hope you accept my plea out of a sense of love for my daughter and friendship for my nephew. If you will not accept my plea for love and duty, then I offer power. This scroll contains detailed knowledge of the fox demons. This information will hopefully allow you to more skillfully control the Kyuubi's chakra flowing in your system. I possess more information on fox demons in the compound. Thus, Uzumaki Naruto, I give you a choice. Will you aid me out of a sense of duty to the woman who loves you completely, And to the young man who respects you above all others? Or will you aid me out of a desire for greater power? I await your decision. Know this, if you abuse this power, I will seek to expunge my greatest failure and dedicate myself to protecting my family and my village. Do not destroy the trust Hinata has placed in you. Hyuga Hiashi 24th clan head of the Hyuga. Naruto had never read anything so formal in his entire life. Hinata's dad had gone out of his way to use the formal title for Bachan and use the ancient way of writing names. Naruto felt smarter just by reading the letter. The Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox wasn't sure what to think about Hiashi Hyuga. Hiashi was undoubtedly a very proud man. Naruto could feel the pride Hinata's father had in the Hyuga clan. Unfortunately, Naruto thought he had screwed up with Hinata. Hiashi had completely failed to recognize how amazing Hinata was while raising her. At least Hayashi's man enough to admit when he screws up, Naruto said respectfully as he completely unfurled the scroll. Now to see what this fox demon stuff is all about. Naruto stared slack-jawed at the amount of information available. There were dozens of diagrams, pages of information, and strange symbols that hurt to look at. Might as well start at the beginning. Subspecies of the fox demons, Naruto read out loud. How am I going to make heads or tails of all this? Naruto closed his eyes and lamented in his head. It is time that we had a talk, Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata slowly unpacked her belongings. After the clan council, officially Hanabi's regents, had stripped Hinata of her title of heiress, Hinata had been moved to the branch family quarters. The loss of her enormous room did not bother Hinata. She had often felt lonely and isolated in her quarters. The simpler bedroom she now occupied was more to her tastes. Unfortunately, Hinata could not bring herself to accept the cozy room. It was her prison. This room would isolate her from the great joys of her life. Hinata would never be able to advance as a kunoichi under Kurenai's watchful eyes. There would never be another opportunity like the Chunin exams. Yes, she had nearly died several times. The first time was the near encounter with Gaara of the desert in the Forest of Death. Her battle against Neji had actually killed her at one point. Neji's gentle fist attacks had actually stopped her heart for nearly 45 seconds. Hinata still savored the opportunity of the Chunin exams. She had proven to herself, her team, and most importantly, to the man she loved, that she could grow and change. The realization that she would never see Kurenai-sensei, Kiba-kun, Shino-kun, and most painfully of all, Naruto-kun, again, tore her apart. At least Naruto-kun knows that I will always love him, Hinata thought as she wiped away her latest tears. He had been so kind during her confession. The kiss they shared would be Hinata's most cherished memory. Wani-chan, may I come in? Hanabi's question had unwittingly saved her sister from sliding deeper into melancholy. Of course, Hanabi-sama, Hinata replied automatically. The door slid open, and Hinata's little sister entered with a frown on her face. Please don't call me that. Hanabi chewed her lip. You're the only one in the compound who calls me Hanabi-chan. You're the heiress now, Hinata said simply. Well, I didn't want it like this. The younger Hyuga girl screamed. Hinata walked over to her sister and simply hugged her. None of us wanted it like this, Imuto, Hinata said as she comforted her sister. Why is the council doing this? Daddy did all he could to protect everyone. The newly declared heiress cried into her big sister's jacket. Hanabi strove to act mature and to be the perfect Hyuga, but she was still a 7-year-old girl. Father did everything you could ask of a leader. The council forgets that our eyes, while powerful, do not make us clairvoyant. Father could not foresee Tsunade's treachery, or Orochimaru's attack. He is a great man, but father is not a prophet, Hinata tried to explain. The two girls were silent for several moments before Hanabi spoke again. Did you tell Naruto-san? I told Naruto-kun that I loved him. The elder Hyuga smiled at the memory. Did he say it back? Hanabi asked hopefully. Naruto-kun was very kind. I would like to think that if we had more time maybe Hinata felt the regret spilling forward. If only we'd had more time. Oh, Hanabi said in disappointment. It's alright, Himuto. The fact that I was able to tell him is enough. Hinata and Hanabi separated so that Hinata could continue to unpack. Hanabi wordless offered to help. Hayashi's daughters allowed themselves to forget their troubles and simply be sisters, if only for a little while. I think I have a plan, Wani-chan, Hanabi shouted. The sudden outburst caused Hinata to jump in surprise. What is it, Hanabi-chan? Hinata asked after taking a moment to overcome her surprise. I'm allowed to leave the compound to go to the academy. Konohamaru, Naruto-san's self-proclaimed minion, is in my class. We could work out ways to keep you and Naruto-san in touch. Hanabi was bright-eyed at the 7-year-old genius of her plan. You would do that for me? Hinata felt her breath catch in her throat. You're my big sister. Of course I will. You will own me though, Hanabi ended her reply with a smirk. Hinata snatched Hanabi's hands. Anything. I, as heiress of the Hyuga clan, hereby order you, Hinata Hyuga, to teach me how to press flowers, Hanabi ordered tongue-in-cheek. Mine never turn out as pretty as yours. Hinata was crying again. This time, she was crying because she had gotten her sister back. Hinata pulled her favorite flower press out of its box and collected a few flowers from a nearby vase. The secret to pressing flowers is, it has been a while since we've had a chat, the QB growled from behind the bars of his seal. The last time we talked you tried to eat me. That kind of talk kinda kills all desire to talk, Naruto shot back. So I did. I think we need renegotiate our lease, the greatest of the Biju smirked. You aren't getting out. Naruto snapped. That would be too much to hope for. The QB shook his head. I have an alternative arrangement you might be interested in. Naruto turned and started to leave. Forget it. What could you offer me that I'd care about? Our current deal works just fine. Hiashi Hyuga's documents barely scratched the surface of the fox demons. I can show you the depths of that power. I can teach you to wield it. And how do I know this isn't a trick to get me to release you? Naruto stopped, but did not turn around. Oh, this is an attempt to convince you to release me. It just isn't a trick. Naruto Uzumaki, you are far cleverer than anyone realizes. In fact, you are very much like myself and my children. Of all my hosts, I have held the greatest connection to you and your mother, the QB confessed idly. Naruto spun around as grabbed the bars of the cage. Tell me about my mother, right the fuck now. Naruto trembled with rage and anticipation. All in good time, Jinchuriki. The QB leaned in close to the bars and looked Naruto directly in the eyes. The fox smiled when, instead of flinching away, Naruto returned the glare with even greater intensity. I must have something to negotiate with, after all. In fact, I have 2 points to negotiate with, the identity of your mother and Hinata Hyuga. If you threaten her, I'll come in there and kick your ass. The warden threatened his prisoner. That resolve is why I respect you. So, let's make a deal. I grant you power, knowledge and access to techniques rarely seen by mortals, and you give me a bit of a longer leash. You've got my attention. Start talking, furball, Naruto ordered the demon. The Biju shifted positions and smiled. Then let's talk. Naruto fumed as he stood at the QB's cage. The demon fox had not said a single word for several seconds. Instead, the Biju had simply grinned at its agitated jailer. There was no way Naruto could allow this to continue. Time was not on Hinata's side. Naruto was already enraged that the Hyuga were holding Hinata hostage. The QB holding both the power to save Hinata and the identity of Naruto's mother hostage was completely unforgivable. Start talking. The Jinchuriki ordered fiercely. In all due time, Jinchuriki. It has been so long since I've had authority that I simply wish to bask in this small amount of freedom. The QB finished his statement with a smug smile. Authority! Naruto spat the word as if it was rotten ramen. This is my mind. It is your prison. The only authority here is mine. If you get any freedom, it is because I allow it. The QB took a step back as Naruto's will manifested visually in the mindscape. Naruto's focus bored into the QB and he missed the details of his will. The details were not missed by the QB. This resembles Kushina's chakra chains. The Biju thought in a panic. The golden chains snaked their way around the QB's prison. In that moment, the greatest of the tailed beasts experienced an emotion that was utterly alien to the chakra creature. Panic. Naruto's manifested will was constricting the cage. The QB felt its own will being overpowered by Naruto's. He is a human child. I am a Biju. This shouldn't be possible. Humanity is truly full of fools to have underestimated you for so long, the QB painfully grunted, and you're the biggest fool of all. Start talking, Naruto ordered. Where shall we begin, Warden? The demon asked with a hint of bitterness. The power you were talking about. If I'm going to save Hinata-chan, I'm going to need every bit of help I can get, Naruto said sternly. His gaze never wavered or left the QB's eyes. As Hayashi's documents said, I am not the only fox demon. I am the greatest of the fox demons. To borrow a word from your woefully inadequate human language, I am the father of the fox demons. The physical plane cannot cope with a being such as myself. A great deal of my chakra leaked away at the moment of my birth. Just as the great creature from which I was sired was separated into 9 beings, so was my power. My children lurk in the dark and forgotten places of your world. They are currently without purpose and direction. As long as I am sealed within you, they will fall back to our natural instincts. Destruction, the QB explained. The tailed beast motioned with one of its great tails to silence Naruto's budding interruption, then continued, but not mindless destruction. Foxes, after all, are clever. I can sense that several of my children have been destroyed by humans. This cannot be permitted to continue. It pains me, but I must bind them to a strong purpose. You are the only human who would not enslave my children. What are you getting at, furball? Naruto was intrigued by the fox's explanation. You will awaken soon. When you do, create a Rasengan. I will pour not only my chakra into the technique, but my will and the connection to my children. We will give birth to a summoning contract, the QB revealed. So, I'm going to be able to summon foxes? Naruto asked excitedly. I hope the toads won't get too mad. I don't need Boss Bunta being pissed off at me. There are many abilities that the toads, as inferior as they are to my progeny, can teach that my kind cannot grant, the fox admitted. And Boss Bunta has never tried to eat me, Naruto growled. But we're not done here. My mother. Ah yes. Your mother. I did mention her, didn't I? QB spoke glibly. Naruto was beginning to lose the emotional control he had recently regained. He noticed that the chains surrounding the Kyuubi were constricting the cage again. I see that you do not take threats or slights to the women in your life well, Jinchuriki. Talk, or I'll squeeze you like a grape, Naruto commanded the fox. Very well. You are not the first human to imprison me. The first was the wife of the infuriating Shogai Hokage. The second was your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. She was a powerful human. Kushina fought until the end to protect you, the Kyuubi spoke with caution. The Biju was acutely aware that it had underestimated Naruto. If Naruto discovered the truth of his mother's death, the Kyuubi would likely be broken completely by Naruto's strength of will. He cannot realize the power he possesses over me. Though I respect him more than any human I have ever encountered, I cannot allow my being to be cast aside. I know you aren't telling me everything. You're too much of a manipulative bastard for that. But Naruto looked away. I've never even known my own mother's name until today. Thank you? What do you want in exchange? You are a clever Jinchuriki. What I want is something I know you will not grant. Instead, I offer a compromise. I'll consider it, Naruto sneered as he crossed his arms. I want you to summon me occasionally. Truthfully, it will not be me but a fragment of my power and consciousness. I cannot truly be released or summoned without destroying both of us. The fourth Hokage's seal is far too powerful and complex. Though the Kyuubi made his offer, but began to drift off as a second idea came to him. That doesn't sound too bad. The though makes me not trust you, Naruto said without fear. Perhaps there is a way for you to draw upon more of my chakra without destroying yourself, the tailed beast mused. Destroying myself? Naruto shouted in alarm. Calling upon too much of my chakra will be damaging to your frail human form. The amount Jiraiya has taught you to call upon is not harmful. The amount you drew upon against Haku is the most your body can contain without burning up your own life to sustain, Kyuubi explained. You better figure out a way to fix that, Naruto snapped. It was bad enough that the fox's presence had caused Naruto to be shunned by most of Konoha. Now, he had discovered that using the fox's power could potentially cause him to die. I am not sure how we can surmount this complication, Jinchuriki. I will see what can be done, Kyuubi stated. The beast knew that if Naruto died, it would die. I think visiting hours are over. Get ready to make that contract, Naruto snapped as he walked away. The boy didn't want to admit that the fox had made some very tempting offers. The fox summoning contract could be a huge help if Naruto had to do something drastic. Naruto didn't think storming the compound would be necessary. Bachan was the freaking Hokage and could probably fingerflick a few of the Hyuga elders through a wall and convince the rest to let Hinata and Neji go. There was also the fact that Naruto couldn't bear the thought of using the toads, the same toads that had fought alongside the fourth, to fight against Konoha. Naruto was pissed at the Hyuga for what they were doing to Hinata, but they were still ninja of Konoha. I know my mother's name. Kushina, Naruto whispered to himself as he returned to the real world. He shifted his focus away from the dark thoughts of fighting fellow Konoha ninja to his mother. I wonder what she was like. The young man looked at the clock. It would be several hours before Bachan got to the tower. Naruto had a few options until then. Option 1 revolved around trying to sneak into the Hyuga compound to see Hinata. That would likely end with a huge fight against the old bastards who had taken over the clan. A huge fight was what he was hoping to avoid. More than anything, Naruto couldn't bear the thought of putting Hinata in any kind of danger. The only other realistic option available for Naruto at 3:45 a.m. was to have the Kyuubi create the fox summoning contract. Okay, the bastard fox said I needed to make a Rasengan, Naruto said after creating a shadow clone. The chakra sphere formed and took on its normal blue hue. Naruto was about to comment on the fox not holding up its end of the bargain. Suddenly, demonic chakra started seeping from Naruto's pores. The red chakra mingled with the Rasengan. Naruto could not contain his surprise as the sphere elongated and solidified. Is this how summoning scrolls are made? The young genin's natural curiosity had taken over. He watched with awe as the chakra became matter. Gravity exerted its influence, and the summoning scroll fell to the ground. Naruto opened the scroll and was surprised by how simply it was. The toad scroll was far more ornate. Here I thought the Lord of Foxes would have a bit more flair. Naruto snorted dismissively. We created the contract from nothingness. Artistry requires concentration and chakra control you do not possess yet, the Kyuubi retorted. Whatever furball, Naruto grunted and ignored the Kyuubi's response. He bit his thumb and signed his name just as he had with the toad scroll. Naruto took a kunai and cut his hand. He slapped his bloody palm onto the scroll. Naruto grinned triumphantly. Let's see if I can do better than a tadpole. Summoning jutsu. There was a flash of smoke and Naruto crossed his fingers. As the smoke cleared, a small reddish fox was sitting on the ground a few feet from Naruto. You have summoned me? The fox asked in a melodious voice. It has legs. It is an honest-to-God fox. I didn't screw up. Naruto jumped up onto his bed and began to dance. Excuse me, human, but are you intoxicated? The fox asked while backing away slowly. Naruto stopped his dance and blinked at the fox. In what? Nah, I'm good. I'm just excited. I didn't royally screw up summoning you. You've got legs. What's your name? Naruto blathered. I am Shiboku. The fox greeted Naruto. Is there anything you require? What techniques do you have, personally? I am skilled in illusions, what you humans refer to as genjutsu. Shiboku answered. Kick ass. My worst skill is genjutsu. The two of us teaming up will be awesome. Naruto spoke excitedly. He was rolling on the balls of his feet in anticipation. I just wish I could show Hinata-chan, Naruto thought glumly. The Jinchuriki cast a glance at the table. Why did they only give us 20 minutes? Yudai, you are a fool. The fifth hasn't rescinded the third's laws surrounding the Jinchuriki. You committed a capital offense. Norio Hyuga hissed. Only the Jinchuriki and the failure heard me. The failure will never leave the compound and the Jinchuriki is an outcast, Yudai said while dismissing the elder's concerns. The Jinchuriki is favored by Tsunade-sama. The Hokage has made her high opinion of Uzumaki Naruto abundantly, and publicly clear. Hanako Hyuga, the lone female elder, said in exasperation. Yudai paled. The elders shook their heads and dismissed the Jonin. Sadao had activated his Byakugan and watched as the Jonin hurried away from the council chambers. We will have to kill Yudai ourselves, I concur. I do not see his removal being a difficult thing to accomplish. He has always been rash and controlled by his passions, Norio agreed. Hanako smirked as an idea formed. We can use Yudai's weak function to our advantage. I will deal with Yudai. This will also give us an opportunity to further sequester the former heiress. Naruto had sent Shiboku back to wherever he had come from and was sitting at his kitchen table. He was smiling for the first time since before Hinata's confession. The smile faltered as he thought about it. It was confusing. Naruto felt lightheaded and incredibly happy that Hinata had told him that she loved him. No one had ever said those 3 words to Naruto. As happy he was to know that Hinata loved him, Naruto was equally as angry at the Hyuga. How could they be so cruel? Hinata was one of the kindest and gentlest people Naruto had ever known. She was a determined and skilled ninja, but Naruto couldn't see her fighting her own family. Unless they are worried she'll get rid of the Hyuga's curse seal, Naruto admitted to himself. He pushed aside his half-finished instant ramen. The clan elders seemed to be going out their way to punish Hinata and probably Neji. Naruto had not forgotten about his other Hyuga friend's plight, but Neji hadn't confessed that he loved Naruto like Hinata did. Naruto suddenly gagged at that thought and wished he could burn ideas. Focus on Hinata-chan, Naruto mentally commanded himself. He sighed in relief as a far more pleasing image entered his head. I'm going to need a plan. The situation was pretty rough, Naruto admitted to himself. He, until very recently, was Konoha's social pariah. Naruto knew he didn't have enough political clout, future Hokage or not, to simply demand a meeting with the Hyuga. He didn't want to storm the Hyuga compound. Naruto was confident he could get Neji and Hinata out of there if the situation came to that, however he had the toads and the foxes. Heck, Naruto had a deal with the freaking Kyuubi. A fresh wave of fear washed over Naruto. Hinata had heard those 2 bastards call Naruto the Kyuubi. She knew. She knows, Naruto mourned the revelation of his burden. Hinata-chan deserved to know but not like that, Naruto groaned. How could Naruto face her now? I really need to speak with Ba-chan, Naruto said dejectedly. Why is this so unfair? Naruto slapped his own cheeks. Focus, Naruto. Ba-chan will be in her office in a bit. Moping won't do a damn thing. There was nothing Naruto could accomplish sitting in his apartment. He had to talk to Ba-chan and Erosenin as soon as possible. Naruto bolted from his apartment and ran through the slowly awakening streets of Konoha. A few times, Naruto was stopped by civilians congratulating him on bringing Tsunade back to the village or for his victory over Neji. It was a strange sensation to be celebrated instead of shunned. If everyone is so happy to see me, then who wrecked my place? Naruto thought. He reached the tower before most of the Hokage's staff. Naruto nearly ran into Hamura Midokado. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a rush, Naruto apologized sheepishly. The elder shrugged at the genin and walked off. Jackass, Naruto mumbled under his breath and jogged up to Tsunade's office. He didn't even bother knocking. Naruto simply pushed open the doors. What are you doing here, Naruto? Tsunade groaned after downing a steaming cup of tea. I've got a couple of huge fucking problems, Naruto hissed. Tsunade glared at Naruto for his language. Alright, Naruto. Tell me your huge problems. I want you to tell me them calmly and without creative adjectives, the Hokage ordered. Naruto took a deep breath and started to recount the events of the last night. He covered almost all the details, but skipped over his deal with the Kyuubi. Tsunade had snapped off part of her desk when Naruto revealed that he had been hit with a 64 palms. Shizen! Tsunade roared. In an instant, her assistant burst into the office. Yes, Hokage-sama? Shizen asked in concern. The Sanin's apprentice had only seen her master this upset once before. A man had tried to cheat her at cards. Go to the Hyuga compound. I want the entire clan council here in 25 minutes. If they are late, I am stripping them of their rank, the 5th Hokage said dangerously. Yudai wasn't sure why Hanako had requested his presence in the branch family section of the compound. He yawned heavily as he rounded the corner. Yudai was annoyed that he had to get up so early. His debriefing had lasted for hours last night. The Hyuga Jonin saw Hanako berating Hinata for something as he entered the hallway. Yudai stopped and waited for the elder to finish disciplining the former heiress. This could take a long time, Yudai thought glumly as he fought the urge to groan. Suddenly, Hanako looked at him and smirked. Yudai felt a wave of apprehension batter him. His paranoia was rewarded when the elder grabbed Hinata's collar and viciously tore at the girl's shirt. What the hell? Yudai shouted in confusion. His shout became a wordless cry of pain. A powerful gentle fist strike had pulped his aorta. Yudai bled to death in seconds. Hanako looked at the dead man for a moment before turning her attention to Hinata. Cover yourself, girl. You have debased yourself enough by having feelings for that thing. Hinata stared in wordless terror at the corpse of Yudai. She covered herself as best she could. Why? Hanako reacted as if Hinata had asked if the elder was actually a woman. I am saving your virtue, of course. The former heiress trembled in fear. She had always known Hanako was devious. This, however, was on a completely different level. Go to your room. If you leave it without my express permission, you will be sealed tonight, Hanako threatened. I understand. Hinata acquiesced. She knew just how much of a disadvantage she was in. A large part of her still held on to the hope that Naruto would save her from her fate. If Naruto was to save her, and Neji, he would need more time. Hinata felt her face burn in shame as she slunk through the halls. She desperately hoped no one would see her like this. Hanako dispelled her shadow clone and exited the hallway. Today was off to a wonderful start. She strolled through the halls triumphantly. Hanako was informed by a branch servant that the Hokage's majordomo had arrived bearing a scroll with the fifth's personal seal. The elder stood in the back of the great hall and simply observed the proceedings. Shizen unfurled the scroll. By order of the fifth Hokage, Tsunade of the Sannin, all Hyuga counselors must report to the Hokage's tower in 25 minutes, or be stripped of their shinobi rank. Most of the Hyuga counselors sped out the door. Hanako calmly approached the Hokage's apprentice and assistant. I will not be able to attend the meeting. There has been a tragic event that must have at least one counselor to contain, the female elder said mournfully. Tell me the situation and I may secure you a reprieve from Tsunade-sama, Shizen responded sharply. Yudai Hyuga attempted to sexually assault Hinata this morning. I killed the criminal with a gentle fist strike. Young Hinata is distraught. The poor thing will need consoling and I must lead an investigation into how Yudai was in the branch quarters without consent in the first place, Hanako explained. In light of the situation, I will ask Tsunade-sama for leniency. However, you must supply a full report to your Hokage. We will also want access to Hinata-san, Shizen commanded firmly. Of course, Hanako said and bowed. Shizen nodded once, before turning on her heels and leaving. Hanako smiled triumphantly. The Hyuga would not repeat the follies of the Uchiha. They would never plot to rise up against Konoha. Instead, they would secure even greater autonomy inside the village. The next generation would earn even greater political power and prestige. In a few generations, the Hyuga would be the power in Konoha. Hanako smiled at the dream of the Hokage becoming a hereditary Hyuga position. She sighed regretfully as she acknowledged that she would not live to see the first Hyuga Hokage. Hanako contented herself with the knowledge she was laying the groundwork for her clan's future golden age. She took a single sharp breath and steeled herself. There was a great deal of work to be done. Naruto paced just outside the Hokage's office. Bachan had asked Naruto to leave after she had ordered Shizen to get the Hyuga elders. It had taken all of Naruto's self-control not to point and laugh at the exhausted Hyuga elders. Serves them right, Naruto thought behind a grin. After basking in his amusement for a moment, Naruto couldn't stave off his boredom any longer. He flopped down on the sofa outside of the office and thought about what he needed to accomplish. There was the obvious goal of rescuing Hinata and Neji. Naruto was hoping Tsunade could handle the Hyuga elders and get Hinata back. Unfortunately, that brought up a problem for Naruto. How am I going to talk to her about the Kyuubi? Naruto groaned at the thought. Naruto's other concerns seemed minor in comparison. He had to give Tenten Tsunade's autograph. That, Naruto thought, wasn't a half-bad idea. Naruto could deliver the autograph and let Tenten know that Tsunade would help out Neji. I should probably check in with Kakashi-sensei. Naruto chewed over the thought as he cast a curious glance at the door to Bachan's office. Ne, Shizen-ichan, Naruto spoke up. Tsunade's assistant had been sitting quietly across the room from Naruto the entire time. Shizen had explicit orders to make sure Naruto didn't fly off the handle and fight the entire Hyuga clan. Yes, Naruto? Shizen asked. Do you know how long that meeting will take? I want to be here when it ends, but there is a bunch of stuff I need to take care of, too, Naruto explained. You can just use shadow clones to finish your errands, Shizen assured Naruto. I guess, but I don't want to have a dozen shadow clones storming back here and filling me in on how everything went, Naruto grunted out. No one has ever told you about the memory transfer aspect of shadow clones? The Hokage's assistant asked in shock. The what? The young man asked in equal shock. Those two words were all Shizen needed to hear. What the heck have Jiraiya-sama and Kakashi-senpai been teaching Naruto? I know Jiraiya has taught him the Rasengan and summoning, but has there been anything else? Shizen began to explain how shadow clones transferred memories to the creator after the clones were dispelled. Naruto's face lit up with excitement at all the possibilities. Shizen smiled at the boy's reaction. She realized she found teaching to be pleasant. That is so cool. I can get everything done now, Naruto said excitedly. Naruto-kun, you can't try to sneak into the Hyuga compound, the Sanin's apprentice cut off Naruto's train of thought. Naruto pouted a bit before nodding. I should probably trust Bachan to take care of everything, Naruto agreed, though with some reluctance. The young shinobi created a few shadow clones. Alright, listen up, Naruto commanded. The shadow clones turned their attention to their creator. One, however, kept his ear pressed against the door in a ham-fisted attempt to listen in on Tsunade's meeting. Naruto pointed at the clone at the door. You stay here and listen in, the original said sharply. I want you on the left to go give Tenten Tsunade's autograph and fill her in on what's going on. Finally, you on the right, go find Kakashi-sensei and check in with him. I'm going to see Iruka-sensei. Shizen shook her head at the amusing antics. She could say many things about Uzumaki Naruto, but Shizen would never call him boring. Please try to stay out of trouble, Naruto-kun, Shizen pleaded. Can't make any promises, Naruto shouted cheekily as he rushed out of the Hokage's tower. The majordomo for the Hokage didn't know whether she should laugh or groan. She settled for an amused head shake as she watched Naruto run down the stairs. Hinata-sama? May I come in? Neji asked as he stood outside of Hinata's room. Hinata slid the door open and smiled softly. Neji and I-san, I am no longer heiress. Socially, we are equals, Hinata reminded her cousin. I will always call you Hinata-sama. If it was not for you and Naruto, I would be trapped within my own darkness forever, Neji countered. I just wanted my big brother back, Hinata said softly. Please come in, Neji and I-san. Neji followed Hinata into her Spartan quarters. Hinata motioned gracefully to one of the few chairs. She was no longer the heiress, but the years of etiquette training ensured that Hinata would always be a gracious hostess. Thank you, Hinata-sama, Neji said formally. Hinata could not decide how she should truly act around Neji. Hinata could still remember the horrible pain Neji's words and strikes had inflicted in the Chunin exam preliminaries. Only a few days ago, she was his societal superior. Yet, she had been reaching out to him for so long. Hinata's greatest dream had always been for Naruto to return her feelings. However, she had also dreamed of repairing her relationships with Neji and her father a great deal. Unable to reconcile her emotional confusion, Hinata made a bold decision. She would treat Neji as the brother she had always wished for. You are welcome, Neji and I-san, Hinata replied with involuntary formality. She caught herself and shook her head. I heard from Shuichi what happened earlier today, Neji said darkly. I am glad you escaped unharmed and with your virtue intact. Yudai will not be mourned by the cadet branch. His attack on you was the latest in a long line of abuses. Neji and I-san Yudai Hinata stammered. She was afraid of what Hanako would do if she discovered Hinata had revealed the truth to anyone. What he did was, Neji said as he rose from the chair. I will begin to make amends, Hinata-sama, Neji thought earnestly. He was murdered, Neji and I-san. He didn't even touch me, Hinata whispered. Neji quirked his eyebrow in confusion. I don't know why Hanako did it, but she killed Yudai-san and made the claim he tried to assault me. Are you sure, Hinata-sama? Neji asked. Yudai was not subtle in describing his attraction towards you. Hinata shuddered as she remembered the time she had overheard Yudai's drunken ramble. That had not been a pleasant night. Hinata had been sneaking out of her room to get a late-night snack. Instead of a quick bite to eat, she had to hide and listen to three men drunkenly complain about Hiashi being soft on the branch house and describe her body in ways she never wanted to hear. It was a terrible night. I'm sure, Hinata said in a small voice, it would be easy to convince the clan that Yudai attempted such a vile act. But why would an elder kill him like that? Neji quizzed Hinata. He wasn't sure if she was simply traumatized or if there actually was a larger conspiracy afoot. Hanako was known to be both shrewd and devious. A larger conspiracy against Hiashi-sama would not be out of the question. I don't know, but I think it was because he ordered Junichi to attack Naruto last night, Hinata suggested nervously. Tsunade-sama is close to Naruto. The clan was probably terrified of the Hokage's wrath. That is reasonable, Hinata confessed. She did not want to mention the Kyuubi. It was true that Naruto was born the day the Kyuubi had attacked the village. But to claim Naruto had been tapping the Kyuubi's chakra? That was impossible. Wasn't it? I need to talk to Naruto. I just want to hear his voice. I just want to see him smile, Hinata thought painfully. Did you confess your feelings, Hinata-sama? Neji decided to change the subject. I did, and I-san. Though I feel like I've replaced one weight with another, Hinata revealed. Do you believe in Naruto? Neji asked. Hinata looked up in shock. Neji simply repeated his question. Completely, Hinata said with absolute conviction. Then have faith that he will find a way to stop this travesty from occurring, Neji reassured his cousin. Thank you, Neji. It's just everything seems so surreal, Hinata sighed. I know Naruto-kun will find a way to make this right. Indeed, Hinata-sama. Naruto has the Hokage's favor and if that fails, is just as likely to charge the compound challenging all the elders to a duel, Neji said with an amused gleam in his eye. Hinata took a moment and pictured Neji's idea. She immediately blushed and started giggling. I wouldn't put it past Naruto-kun to do something so chivalrously rash, Hinata confessed. Moegi-chan, do you know where Naruto's minion is? Hanabi asked in annoyance. She had been looking for Konohamaru all day. You mean Konohamaru-chan or Udan-chan? Those two slackers are skipping class again. Moegi moaned. Don't they only skip taijutsu class? Hanabi asked. Moegi shook her head and started to giggle. I think they're tired of losing to us, Moegi said in between giggles. True, but I need to ask him a favor, Hanabi ground out. You need to ask me a favor? Konohamaru suddenly asked. The honorable grandson hopped down from a nearby tree. His best friend, Udan, slowly climbed down after him. I don't really need the favor, but I need you to deliver something to your boss, Hanabi said slowly. Konohamaru tried Hanabi's patience. Don't tell me another Hyuga has a crush on the boss. Konohamaru shouted in awe. He turned to Udan. See, I told you becoming a minion would have benefits. We'll get chicks from awesome clans. Moegi, from the Udatain clan, and Hanabi, from the Hyuga clan, simply rolled their eyes. Idiot, Hanabi muttered under her breath. Look, give this to Naruto-san. If you open it, I'll juken you back to the founding. Wow, you really want to keep your love letter secret, don't you? Konohamaru asked while rubbing his chin. Idiot. It's my sister's. Not mine. Hanabi shouted in exasperation. Sure, whatever. I'll give it to him, Konohamaru promised somewhat dismissively. He and Udan started to leave again. And where do you think you two are going? Moegi asked pointedly. Nowhere? Udan responded nervously. You guys are skipping again. Moegi shouted at her friends. Udan and Konohamaru laughed nervously. You call yourselves Naruto-san's minions? Didn't you know that Naruto-san never skipped taijutsu class? Hanabi demanded. Wow, you know about the boss. Are you sure that love letter isn't yours? Konohamaru asked dumbly. Hanabi swallowed back an exasperated scream, before counting backwards from 5. My sister is the one who loves Naruto-san. I've never even talked with him, Hanabi said as evenly as she could. Konohamaru and Udan shared a drawn-out "oh" and nodded. That made more sense. Well, Udan and I will go find the boss and give him this. It's obviously important, Konohamaru quickly spoke in an attempt to get away. Don't even think about it. If my brother-in-law is going to have minions, I want to make sure they are competent. Hanabi shouted and crossed her arms. Moegi nodded in agreement. Udan and Konohamaru gulped fearfully. Moegi grabbed Konohamaru and Hanabi grabbed Udan. The boys knew they were at the mercy of the girls and simply accepted their fate. Hanabi-chan, you said brother-in-law? Your sister and the boss aren't married yet, are they? Moegi asked. YT, Hanabi answered in a sing-song voice. Iruka sat at his desk and reveled in the silence of the classroom. He loved teaching, but there were times he just wanted to enjoy a peaceful silence. Iruka had been thrilled to hand off taijutsu instruction to Yanai-sensei. The young teacher finished off the last quiz and leaned back in his chair. He was looking forward to grabbing a drink or two tonight. Iruka suddenly shot forward when the window opened. Iruka-sensei, I need to talk to you about something, Naruto said nervously as he looked around the empty classroom. What about Naruto? Iruka asked casually. How long before the class comes back? Naruto questioned. Iruka was struck by how pensive his favorite student was at the moment. They are in taijutsu class. We have time to talk, Iruka assured Naruto. The Hokage aspirant looked towards the back row. Iruka was patient and allowed the young man to gather his thoughts. It was unusual to see Naruto like this. Clearly, the subject was extremely important to Naruto. Iruka was grateful that Naruto trusted him enough to share his concerns. Where is the line between like and love? Naruto finally asked. I can't teach you where the line is, Naruto. You have to discover it for yourself, Iruka explained. What? Naruto asked in total shock. You're the greatest teacher ever. How can you not teach me something? Naruto wasn't panicking, but his emotions were definitely about to run wild. He needed to sort his head out. Thank you for your faith, Naruto. But this isn't something I can teach you. I've personally never found where my own line between like and love is. Can you explain why you like the taste of ramen to someone who has never had it? Iruka tried to point Naruto in the right direction. No, but I have to figure it out. If I don't figure it out soon, I'll lose my shot at this. Iruka-sensei, I haven't needed your help like this since the day I found out about the fox. Naruto shouted. Iruka saw the cascade of panic, hope, confusion, and nearly a dozen other emotions play across Naruto's face. Okay, I understand. I'll need a minute, Iruka said in an attempt to calm Naruto. Let me tell my class something and I'll be back. I promise, Naruto. Naruto could only nod as he watched Iruka exit the classroom. How much should I tell him? Naruto questioned himself. Suddenly, the memories of the clone who visited Tenten filtered into his mind. The happiness, the news, and the autograph brought Tenten helped ease the storm of Naruto's rolling emotions. Listen up, class. Iruka's announcement drew Naruto's attention from his thoughts. I was so impressed by your quiz scores that I have decided to let you go home early. Naruto laughed when the class started cheering. He nearly choked when he heard Konohamaru shout something about escaping from crazy Hyuga women. Hinata-chan has a sister. Maybe I can talk with her and find out what's going on. Naruto started to head to the door when he heard Konohamaru ask Iruka to give Naruto something. Iruka thanked Konohamaru and started to head back to the classroom. Konohamaru said, "You might be interested in this." He said, "Hanabi claims it's from Hinata," Iruka said as he re-entered the classroom holding an envelope. Naruto erupted from his perch and snatched the envelope from the teacher's hand. Iruka observed as Naruto tore into the envelope like a starving man would tear into a loaf of bread. Naruto read the letter as if his very soul depended on memorizing every pen stroke. "Iruka-sensei, can you help me write a response to Hinata-chan?" "I wasn't the best at that sort of thing in the academy," Naruto asked in the closest to a pleading tone he had ever used. "I'll help you, Naruto. Before we start with that, I need you to tell me what's going on," Iruka said in a firm, but friendly tone. Naruto looked up and gulped. That got Iruka's attention. "Only if you swear not to tell anyone." "Not even Ba-chan?" Naruto shouted. The intensity in Naruto's voice demanded that Iruka agree. He had kept secrets for his students before. However, in his gut, he knew this would be the greatest secret he had ever kept. "I promise," Iruka said solemnly. Naruto took a deep breath before launching into the story of the previous night. Iruka was frozen in place when Naruto revealed Hinata's confession. The teacher had always known that the Hyuga heiress harbored some feelings for his favorite student, but he never knew the true depths of the girl's feelings. It almost made him reconsider his stance of not getting involved in the romantic lives of his students. Almost every case was the typical fangirl love of the Rookie of the Year. Iruka didn't want to encourage that sort of shallow infatuation. However, if there were more cases like Hinata and Naruto, Iruka might take a more active role. "And how do you feel about Hinata, Naruto?" Iruka spoke up for the first time since Naruto began. "I don't know. Hinata-chan is responsible for me beating Neji. I was feeling pretty hopeless before that match. If Hinata-chan hadn't spoken to me, I wouldn't have won. Knowing that someone had so much faith in me made me feel lightheaded. Then, when I was going after Ba-chan with Erosenin, I couldn't stop thinking about her. I needed to know if she was okay. Then I finally figured out she liked me, and there was a part of me that wanted to run back to Konoha and ask her if it was true. It took me long enough to figure that out, didn't it? I should have known after Hinata-chan's fight with Neji. Did you know that seeing her stand up and refuse to give in to Neji's mind games was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen?" Naruto rambled a bit. "Naruto, it sounds like you are coming close to discovering where your line is," Iruka commented. Naruto looked up and smiled faintly. Iruka returned the smile and motioned for Naruto to continue. The young man took several deep breaths and told Iruka how the Hyuga guards used 64 palms against Naruto. Iruka went pale with fear and rage. Naruto missed the expression because he was explaining Hiashi's letter. "After that, I spoke with the Kyuubi," Naruto admitted. What? Iruka spat out in utter shock. "We, kind of made a deal. I created a summoning scroll for the fox demons. I even managed to summon Shiboku. He had legs and everything," Naruto said with rising enthusiasm. "Naruto! You can't trust the Kyuubi!" Iruka hissed in alarm. He was very concerned for Naruto's safety. "There's no way I'm going to trust the fur ball," Naruto said simply. "I'm hurt, Jinchuriki." "Here I thought we had an understanding," the Kyuubi moaned in false offense. "Shut it, fur ball. I still haven't forgiven you for trying to eat me." Naruto shot back. "I know I promised not to tell anyone, but Naruto, this is dangerous. It's the Kyuubi." Iruka started to explain, but the memories of that horrible night drew his attention away from his student. "Iruka-sensei, I swear I'll never lose control of the Kyuubi. That bastard fox has to obey me." "Which means, he's staying behind the seal," Naruto said with almost venomous emphasis on the last part of his declaration. "Naruto, are you talking to it?" Iruka asked nervously. "No, I was just reminding the bastard of its place," Naruto promised. "I have never needed a drink so bad in my life," Iruka mentally sighed. "Naruto, I'm not going to lie. I don't like the fact you have made a deal with the Kyuubi. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you. I don't want you to be put in danger." "I know," Naruto said quietly. "We can talk more about this later. Right now, let's get started on that letter." Iruka quickly changed the subject. "Okay, Iruka-sensei," Naruto accepted his teacher's words at face value. "First, is there anything you want to tell Hinata?" Iruka prodded. "Well, I want to tell Hinata-chan a lot of things, but I want to tell her. She deserves for me to tell her, but not through a letter," Naruto said after a moment's thought. "That's surprisingly romantic, Naruto." "Let's start by saying how much you miss her," Iruka explained. Naruto put ink on his pen. "Alright, treat calligraphy like a kata. Take your time and be precise. You wouldn't rush a kata, and this is just as important as any kata, possibly more so." The boy nodded and took his time. He was not going to screw this up. Iruka nodded as Naruto finished the sentence. The teacher had suggested a somewhat neutral opening topic so that he could critique Naruto's writing without stumbling upon something very personal. "Very good, Naruto. I'm sure this letter will make Hinata very happy," Iruka congratulated Naruto. Naruto looked up and smiled before going back and painstakingly starting a new sentence. I think they might really love each other. If anyone deserves to find love, it's those two, Iruka thought as he watched Naruto pour his heart out onto the paper. He just prayed Naruto and Hinata would be given the chance to discover the depths of their feelings. Hokage-sama, you have to fix this. I don't know what Naruto would do if he lost her now. Naruto was sitting on a branch of a tree outside the academy trying to just calm down. The boy's emotions were still on a roller coaster that hadn't even begun to slow down. Naruto was well aware that his emotions wouldn't probably settle back to their natural state until Neji and Hinata were freed from the Hyuga compound. At least try to look like nothing's wrong, Naruto tried to convince himself. It failed utterly. He found himself craving the familiar. Naruto's first thought was to head to Ichiraku and see if Tsuchi could whip up the usual. Strangely, Naruto's body rejected the idea. Gah, I really am messed up. I don't want ramen. Naruto felt a tingling sensation at the base of his brain. One of his shadow clones had just dispelled. Much to the original's disappointment, the clone had not been the lone sentry in the Hokage's office. Kakashi had dispelled the clone with 1,000 years of pain. Evidently, the shadow clone had grown impatient and grabbed one of Kakashi's precious copies of Erosen and Smut and tossed it out of the room. The clone had been in the middle of demanding when Team 7 would start training when Kakashi had struck. Naruto sighed as he remembered Kakashi's words. You are very hasty today, Naruto. Konoha's #1 knucklehead ninja sighed as he realized how right his Jonin instructor actually was. The short lifespan of a shadow clone amplified the emotions of the creator. It was only natural that Naruto's anxiety of the situation with Hinata and Neji would be reflected in the clone's behavior. Naruto wasn't only worried about their imprisonment. The Jinchuriki, selfishly he thought, was terrified that Hinata's love would evaporate now that she knew the truth of his status as the container of the Kyuubi. Naruto was well aware that the Hyuga Council would spin a web of lies that would discredit Naruto. Naruto's only hope was that Hinata would go to her father first. This sucks, Naruto moaned. He had to sort out his head. Unfortunately, the only way Naruto knew how to get his ducks in a row was to directly speak with Hinata. She had a way with her words. Naruto remembered how Hinata had filled him with confidence before his battle with Neji. He also remembered how he had realized that Hinata liked him instead of merely liking him. It had been during his training to master the Rasengan. Naruto had been feeling down about his inability to master the Fourth's technique. His mind wandered back to Hinata's speech. Strangely, he had kept focusing on intense feelings of the heart. Naruto was blindsided by just how obvious Hinata's hints had truly been. Granted, Naruto had never been truly observant until traveling with Jiraiya. The old pervert had spent almost as much time teaching Naruto fieldcraft as the Rasengan. I'm confused as all hell, Naruto said as he jumped down from the tree branch. He hated moping. Naruto needed a short-term goal that he could achieve. The letter to Hinata was still in his pocket. Naruto placed a hand over the letter. He was relieved to note that it wasn't wrinkled. An objective was forming in his head, and Naruto smiled at the mental comfort. Let's go, Naruto said to himself. This is what you do. Hanabi scoffed as Udan handed Konohamaru a very soggy bag of fruit. Stupid pranks? For your information, these stupid pranks are valuable training exercises. They also help us get back at stuck-up pricks. Konohamaru said indignantly after giving the bag of fruit an appraising heft. You are a member of one of Konoha's most respected clans. I can't believe you would stoop to this. Hanabi shook her head as she spoke. Her gaze settled on Moegi. Please tell me you're the voice of reason. Moegi-san, I pray you are going to tell your friends that they shouldn't put rotten fruit in Precinct Warden Fukuzawa's attic. This isn't just a prank, Hanabi-chan. Fukuzawa filed a fudged mission report to the Hokage and cheated Team Masamoto out of a D rank, Moegi explained. Hanabi couldn't believe someone could be so cheap as to weasel out of a D rank. Udan nodded and explained what happened. So, this is some kind of social justice thing? Hanabi asked. She was actually a bit impressed by the prank now. Konohamaru didn't fail to notice Hanabi's change in opinion. Absolutely. We do this kind thing all the time. I'm all about social justice. You're just saying that 'cause you're starting to crush on Hanabi, Moegi said with a laugh. Konohamaru went bright red and started mumbling a string of half-hearted denials. Wow, I don't think I've seen anyone blush that much since Hinata-chan during the first test of the Chunin exams, Naruto said from behind Udan. The boy with the eternally runny nose yelped and scrambled away. Hanabi and Moegi also jumped in surprise. Konohamaru had trained with Naruto enough to know how truly stealthy Naruto was. Yo, boss! Konohamaru practically shouted in relief. The honorable grandson was grateful for the change in focus. He had never thought of Hanabi like that before. The fact that a good chunk of his brain thought it was a good idea worried him a bit. Naruto looked at the bag and shook his head. If you're going for a stink prank, rotting fruit doesn't work very well. You want cabbage for that kind of prank, Naruto explained. Moegi pulled out a pink journal and took notes. This is more of a social justice experiment, Naruto-san, Hanabi said. Naruto raised an eyebrow and said with undeniable eloquence, what's it no? Hanabi sighed. This was her first time meeting Naruto, and she had no idea what to make of the object of her Oni-chan's affections. Naruto had sneaked up on them easily enough. Unfortunately, Hanabi's explanation had soared right over his head. Hanabi explained Konohamaru and his friend's plan to Naruto. The only official genin present nodded approvingly. So, you're playing off old Fubu's fear of flies. That'll work nicely. It's mostly harmless and it'll force him to request a few D-ranks to clear out the house. Good job, kiddos, Naruto said approvingly. Thanks, boss. Konohamaru, Moegi and Idan said as one. Naruto smiled warmly. Hanabi had caught Naruto's tone. She knew it probably wasn't intentional, but Naruto had used a tone her father had used to motivate members of the clan, back when he was still clan head. In spite of herself, she looked away. Hanabi, can I borrow you a minute? Naruto asked suddenly. The young Hyuga turned her attention back to the orange-clad ninja. Instinctively, she tensed. Naruto's eyes had a determined sheen to them. Hanabi felt like she was staring into an unmolested frozen pond. Sure, she replied, unsure of what Naruto wanted. Naruto got up from his crouching position and walked off to the side. Hanabi read his body language and saw the purpose in his stride. Naruto's boasting about becoming Hokage was well known in all circles of Konoha society. Hanabi had, like many others, doubted his chances. That was before Naruto defeated Neji. That was before she saw the endless well of determination he possessed. No wonder Oni-chan fell so hopelessly in love with him, Hanabi thought to herself. She joined Naruto off to the side. Hanabi, you are the only one who I can trust with this task, Naruto started speaking. Hanabi realized that if he asked her to infiltrate Kumo and assassinate the Raikage, she would probably swear to do her best. Instead, Naruto simply reached into his jacket's internal pocket and pulled out an envelope. Please, make sure Hinata-chan gets this letter. And tell her. Naruto took a moment to compose himself. Tell her I haven't stopped thinking about her. Hanabi nodded and carefully put the letter away in her pack. She smiled. I believe you'll do it, Naruto-san. Huh! The leader of men was gone and the social novice had returned. Become Hokage, Hanabi said with complete honesty. I'll give Oni-chan the letter. She'll be thrilled. Thank you, Naruto said before walking off with a wave. Hanabi rejoined the other academy students as they prepared for their social justice experiment. So you think my Byakugan will help? Hanabi asked. Sakura was humming as she walked down the street. Last night had been a very good night. She had spent most of the day talking with and running errands for Sasuke-kun. Sakura was amazed, happy, but amazed, that Sasuke-kun had taken an active role in the conversation. He didn't call her annoying or bring up the battle against Orochimaru. The nurses had escorted Sakura out of the hospital after visiting hours ended, but had been very friendly. At home, her parents hadn't been fighting. Sakura's parents fought more than Sakura would ever like to admit. Her dad was one of Konoha's civilian merchants and often was on trade excursions to other cities. For the first time since the Chunin exams, Sakura spent the night thinking about how her life was finally back in order. Hey! Sakura-chan! Naruto suddenly shouted. Sakura sighed. It was too early for Naruto's overenthusiastic attempts to ask her for a date. Hello, Naruto, Sakura said warmly. She may not want him to ask her out, but Naruto was still a good friend and teammate. I got a question, Naruto said while scratching the back of his head. The lone kunoichi of Team 7's first instinct was to shout about how she wasn't going to go out with Naruto. However, there was something about his tone and look in his eyes. Sakura decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Ask away, but keep walking. Visiting hours start in a few minutes. I brought Sasuke-kun breakfast from Kenji's. He mentioned how glad he was that it wasn't destroyed in Orochimaru's invasion, Sakura said while shifting the bag she was carrying. Sasuke will be released today. Bachan is the best medic nin in the world. I'm shocked they didn't release him yesterday, Naruto responded with absolute confidence. Bachan? Sakura asked in surprise. Bachan, Naruto answered as if his answer was the most obvious in the entire world. Wait, Sakura's voice trailed off as realization dawned on her. Tsunade-sama, yeah, but mind if I ask that question? Naruto ignored Sakura's outburst. Sakura took a calming breath and nodded. Do you think Sasuke has flaws? Naruto's question took Sakura completely by surprise. The surprise was so great she actually came to a complete halt. Flaws? Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. Naruto simply nodded. He doesn't have very many. Right, but you would accept them, right? Naruto pressed. I can't see Sasuke-kun being flawed, Sakura answered honestly. Naruto nodded. Hinata-chan accepted mine, he said very small voice. What was that, Naruto? I'll explain when we get to Sasuke's room. There's a lot more I need you guys help with. Last night, except for 20 minutes, was the second worst night of my life, Naruto answered in a nearly broken voice. Oh, I'm sorry, Naruto. I'll definitely do what I can to help and I'm sure Sasuke-kun will as well, Sakura comforted her teammate. She had never heard Naruto so down before. In fact, she didn't believe it was possible for Naruto to be down on himself. He'll be back to normal after talking with us. Everything will be back to normal soon, Sakura thought to herself. Thanks Sakura-chan, I have a hypothetical situation. Naruto continued the conversation as the hospital came into view. I have a hypothetical solution, Sakura shot back playfully. Say a guy you really like, Naruto began. Sasuke-kun? Sure, let's go with that, the Toad Summoner said flatly. Say in this scenario, your family didn't like the guy at all. Sakura noticed that Naruto was wearing the same smile he had when he declared let's get wild, before the attack on Zabuza. He was planning something big. Sakura wasn't sure if she should be trying to talk Naruto out of whatever the plan was or encourage him. What about this hypothetical guy? Why doesn't my hypothetical family like him? Does he hypothetically like me as well? Sakura asked. Hypothetically? Naruto counter-asked. Sakura nodded, and the look in her eyes made it clear she was curious about what Naruto was getting at. Well, hypothetically, the family thinks he's some kind of troublemaker with no standing. And, Naruto sighed. His mind was still racing from last night. The past couple of months had been one solid emotional roller coaster. He's not sure. This hypothetical guy hasn't really had many people get this close before. Anyway, if this guy were to try to sneak in to see you, what should he bring? That's what you were going to ask, Sakura said as she stepped in front of Naruto. Yeah? Naruto responded as neutrally as possible. That's so romantic, Sakura squealed. Flowers. Definitely flowers if this girl was me. I'd like dumplings. Flowers, got it, Naruto responded. The two friends resumed their walk towards the hospital. A pair of nurses waved to them as Sakura and Naruto entered the elevator. The pair were silent as the elevator took them to Sasuke's floor. Why did you come up with scenario? Sakura asked. Naruto hadn't expected her to ask that question. Well, not until they entered Sasuke's hospital room. Naruto needed more time to plan how he was going to explain everything to his teammates. Erosen writes books and I wanted to, write my own. But I refused to write smut like he does so. You're writing a book? The pinkette perked up. Naruto nodded nervously. You have to get me a copy when you finish it. That, Naruto thought, was the last thing he ever expected to hear. Iruka sighed in annoyance at his drink. The bar was relatively empty, and the academy teacher needed a target for his frustrations. His conversation with Naruto had sent Iruka into a near frenzy. Neji and Hinata had been his former students, but they weren't the only Hyuga Iruka had lost contact with. Currently, there were 5 Hyuga in the academy. The only Hyuga whose well-being Iruka was sure of was Hanabi. Iruka was pleased to see the probable Rookie of the Year was safe. Though, Iruka thought as he downed the remainder of his alcohol, she was clearly upset. The academy teacher had immediately thought the worst. The other Hyuga students were all branch family members. Had there been a purge or uprising? Iruka thought momentarily before shaking off that thought. Truthfully, the damages from Orochimaru's invasion were likely the cause. Isn't it a bit early for this sort of thing? A voice floated from behind him. Iruka turned around and lifted his empty glass. Hello, Anko-san, Iruka said politely before putting down the glass and motioning for another drink. After today, I need a drink. The Hokage sent you out on a mission? I didn't realize we were that hard-pressed, Anko said as she sat down. The Hokage didn't. I've been trying to find out what the Hyuga are up to. They've pulled almost all their students from the academy, and several of my former students haven't been seen in a while. I've been looking into that and I visited a few families of former students. We lost a lot of good, young, ninja in the invasion. Iruka's voice grew more distant as he spoke of his former students. I didn't think we lost any academy students in the invasion, Anko said. We didn't, but I still lost 13 students. Iruka growled and tightened his grip on his glass. Anko couldn't help but smile sadly at the man. He clearly loved his students. If the very concept of a teacher ever took physical form, it would probably become Yumino Iruka. They were ninja and were prepared for the risks, Anko pointed out. It still doesn't change the fact that 13 of my students are dead, Iruka said angrily. You're a good man, Yumino Iruka, Anko said sincerely. You're a hell of a woman, Iruka responded without hesitation. He immediately tensed and gulped. Oh God, I said that out loud. Anko felt a bit of a blush on her cheeks. All traces of sadness left her smile as she rested her hands under her chin and leaned forward. You said it out loud? Well, at least I don't have to work as hard to get you drunk so I can take advantage of you, Anko practically purred. Iruka closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He reached over the bar and grabbed a second glass and a bottle of an expensive alcohol. The academy teacher poured Anko a glass before refilling his own. Iruka looked down the bar and motioned to the bartender. Sadao, I'll get another bottle of this stuff for you later. Sadao nodded. All right. I don't know where you get it, but everyone loves that stuff. Grandma wants some more. I'll get it before her birthday next month, Iruka assured his older cousin. You two related? Anko asked. Yeah, Sadao's my older cousin. I like it here because if I'm having a really bad, or a really good, night I can just bum a cot and sleep it off, Iruka explained. Oh really now? Anko was very interested about that last bit of information. Hell no! If you two are going to go at it, take her to your place, Iruka, Sadao shouted. Fine, fine, Iruka groaned and downed his drink. So Anko said after matching Iruka's downing. Is this a really bad or really good day? Ask me tomorrow morning, Iruka said honestly. I plan on it. Enko smiled broadly. Sasuke stared out the window and into the village. What the hell have I been doing? The last loyal Uchiha found himself asking the same question over and over again. Had all his hard work and struggles been for naught? The gap separating Sasuke from Itachi was still a yawning chasm. Sasuke had made no progress at all. Only Naruto has made any progress. How is it that a clanless runt can grow in power while I, an Uchiha, remain stagnant? Sasuke's hand found its way to Orochimaru's seal. A Sannin, that was the answer. Naruto had somehow convinced a Sannin to train him. That was the only explanation. Sasuke and Naruto had worked equally hard in their own training. Hard work could only get one so far. The Hyuga that Naruto defeated in the Chunin exam finals had partially been correct. Certain individuals were born with the potential for greatness. However, natural ability was merely ore. It had to be refined through hard work. The dedication to self-improvement is one of the positive traits Sasuke acknowledged in Naruto, and that ridiculous Rock Lee. The introspective mental rambling was interrupted by the lilting laughter of Sakura and the enthusiastic voice of Naruto. Sasuke withdrew his hand from his neck and felt the conflict within him. He truly lacked hatred. A part of Sasuke refused to cut the bonds with his teammates. Naruto and Sakura were threatening to fill the void left by the murder of his family. There were times where Sasuke seriously considered foregoing his revenge and remaining in Konoha, but those bonds were holding him back. The bonds were preventing Sasuke from having a singular focus on the pursuit of power. Sacrifices must be made. Look! I told you that Sasuke would be up and ready to go, Naruto said excitedly as he pushed his way into Sasuke's room. Hello, Sasuke-kun. We brought you breakfast, Sakura said as she offered a bag. Sasuke nodded and accepted the bag. As he chewed on an onigiri, he felt the weakness of attachment worm its way forward. So, Naruto, what is it you wanted to talk about? Sakura spoke and cut off Sasuke's dark thoughts. Sasuke, is there a way for the Hokage to get involved in clan affairs? Naruto asked. Naruto's quiet tone of voice shocked the Uchiha. You have no clan, Sasuke stated simply. I'm not asking for me the Hyuga, they are going to place that seal of theirs on Hinata-chan. I need to know a way to stop them, Naruto pleaded with his best friend. Hinata-chan? The other two members of Team 7 thought in shock. Naruto had only ever added Chan to Sakura's name. The Hokage can't, and should never, get involved in clan matters, Sasuke said firmly. How can you say that? Naruto asked in shock. Because I don't want to see a civil war, Sasuke shouted. If the Hokage interferes in one clan's affairs, she can interfere in all of them. All clans value their autonomy. The Hokage getting involved and running roughshod over their rights would probably lead to the clans revolting or simply leaving Konoha. Sasuke-kun, shouldn't they make an exception in this case? Sakura asked. Should they? Maybe, but we can't risk the clans losing faith in the village, especially not now. The invasion showed us we were not as strong as we thought we were. Konoha needs to look inwards to strengthen itself. Everything else should be secondary, Sasuke said firmly. Sakura frowned as she wondered if Sasuke's words were about Konoha or himself. Is this what you wanted to talk to us about? Sakura decided to steer the conversation in a positive direction. Yeah, this all started last night, Naruto admitted. He launched into a carefully worded version of the previous night's events. Sasuke's face remained strangely passive. Sakura, for her part, understood Hinata's feelings. If she was in the same horrific situation, Sakura would have wanted to pour her heart out to Sasuke. A troubling thought entered Sakura's mind as soon as the previous thought had fired in her mind. Would Sasuke-kun be doing for me what Naruto is doing for Hinata? You really refuse to give up, no matter the situation? Sasuke asked after Naruto finished the tale. I won't give up, or go back on my word, ever, Naruto responded to Sasuke's question with utter conviction. Then fight me, Sasuke shot out. Naruto stared at Sasuke for a moment. Well? Isn't this what you want? My acknowledgement? Naruto started to speak. He wore a smile of triumph, but a sense of urgency replaced it quickly. I want to fight you, I truly do, but I have to go. Bachan just finished chewing out those old Hyuga bastards. That can wait! Sasuke shouted as Naruto jumped over Sasuke's bed. The last Uchiha was scrambling from his bed as Naruto landed on the windowsill. I'm sorry, Sasuke, but I have to find out what's going on. I promise, when we fight, it'll be one Konoha never forgets. Naruto responded as he hopped out of the window. How can he be leaving me behind? What has he done to deserve all that strength? Sasuke raged. Sasuke-kun, please calm down. Naruto isn't leaving you behind. You are his best friend. Sakura pleaded with her teammate and the object of her affections. Please, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke felt that his Sharingan had awakened and Orochimaru's curse seal was flaring to life in response to his rage. The power was intoxicating. It's responding to the second time a brother has abandoned me. Sasuke was devastated by the realization. We will settle this, Naruto. We will find the truth of ourselves, the last Uchiha said in an icy tone. Naruto burst through the doors to the Hokage's tower, and immediately made a beeline for Bachan's office. Shizen was waiting outside of Tsunade's office. I told the clone to dispel The meeting is nearly over. I wanted the real you to be here when it ended, Shizen said in a sisterly tone. Thanks, Shizune-chan. Naruto's response acknowledged both the sisterly tone and his own view on his relationship with the Hokage's assistant. Do you think Bachan has made any progress without messing with the Hyuga's autonomy? Shizen blinked at the surprising maturity in Naruto's question. I hope so. We can't afford to step on any toes at the moment. Not with Konoha still recovering after the invasion. The doors to Tsunade's office opened and the Hyuga elders streamed out. Naruto was pleased to see that they looked a bit scared. Bachan was the Hokage, and if she was angry, you were going to know it. Most of the Hyuga didn't spare Naruto a second glance. One elder, however, sent Naruto a venomous glare. Shizen returned the glare with a neutral, almost appraising stare. Get in here, brat, Tsunade barked. Naruto scoffed, but complied. Don't get any more gray hairs, Bachan, I'm here. You must have really shown them that you were boss, Naruto congratulated Tsunade. Naruto, sit down, Tsunade said gently. A tremor of worry found its way into Naruto's bowels. The pit of dread nested in Naruto's core. According to the Hyuga, they are securing a transition of power, and by the laws of Konoha and the Hyuga clan, they are within their rights. However, the Hyuga unlawfully removed 2 active shinobi from my ranks. I will use that to free your friends, Tsunade explained. I think Hinata-chan is more than a friend now, but I don't know. I am not sure enough to say out loud, but I think I'm close, Naruto thought. But Hinata-chan only has a few days. Naruto exclaimed. I know, Naruto. I'm doing everything I can. The Hyuga are going to drag their asses back here tomorrow for more negotiations. We'll get Neji and Hinata back, Tsunade spoke consolingly. Thanks, Bachan, Naruto said behind a smile. It wasn't what he had wanted to hear, but it was a good start. Naruto couldn't deny that Sasuke's concerns about a civil war were becoming his own concerns. I nearly forgot my apartment got broken into yesterday too. What? Tsunade said flatly. Instinctively, Naruto gulped. The young genin had never heard Tsunade sound so dangerous before. When? Before Hinata-chan told me that she loved me, Naruto admitted. What are we going to have to do to get you the respect you deserve? Tsunade said in utter exasperation. You could always give me the hat, Naruto said excitedly. Nice try, brat. You're a few years away from that, Tsunade chided the excited blonde-haired Jinchuriki in front of her. I'll get someone I trust over to your apartment to look into who tried to rob you. That's just it, Bachan. Nothing was taken. Heck, whoever did it, put my stuff back after they searched, Naruto explained. Why would someone do that? Shizen asked in shock. No clue, Naruto said with a shrug. Thanks for everything, Bachan. I'm happy to help, Naruto. Go home and get some rest. I bet today has been stressful. You could say that, Bachan, Naruto chuckled. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Naruto-kun, Shizen said warmly. Naruto waved back before walking away. Tsunade Shisho, what are we going to do? Shizen followed up as soon Naruto as was out of earshot. Everything we can, Tsunade promised. Naruto walked up the stairs to his apartment. The day had taken its toll on him. It was just like the day old man Hokage had died. The emotional punches he had taken had worn him out. He entered his apartment, and sat down on the end of his bed. Naruto sighed as he closed his eyes. Hey, furball, I think we need to talk, Naruto said inwardly. Oh, what an honor, my warden wishes to speak with his prisoner, the Kyuubi responded glibly. Stuff it, Naruto snapped. The Hyuga are stalling Bachan. That is obvious. I am singularly amazed someone of your limited intellect noticed it so quickly, the Nine Tails quipped. The Hyuga know that their kidnapping of Hinata won't hold up for long. They unlawfully removed 2 active duty shinobi from the military at a time when Konoha is short-handed, Naruto explained mostly to himself. I was unaware I was transferred to a new jailer. Who are you? The Kyuubi laughed as he felt the annoyance rolling off his warden. You are correct, however. I do not see how the Hyuga clan could ensure that the girl never leaves the compound, though. Naruto chewed over several possibilities. The final realistic possibility was terrifying. They're going to cripple her during the sealing attempt. Naruto screamed in base horror. Devious, very devious. I must say I am impressed by the Hyuga's subtlety. The sealing process is undoubtedly painful and dangerous. An error would be tragic but not out of the realm of the possible, the Kyuubi said with a hint of respect. The respect in the demon's thoughts sent Naruto into a rage. Naruto's mental defenses began manifesting as golden chakra chains. Once again, the Kyuubi cursed the iron will of his warden and recoiled involuntarily. I would expect you to say trash like that, but if I ever hear you say anything positive about those bastards again, I'll crush you, Naruto swore. Your will is clear, warden, the demon fox growled. What are your intentions for the Hyuga clan? They are going to try to make a fool of Bachan. Combine that with the bullshit they are trying to pull with Hinata-chan, I'm afraid we're going to have to do something. Naruto took a deep breath. Drastic. Drastic? The Kyuubi leaned in closer to the bars of his prison. I like the sound of drastic. Anari sat silently on the wall of the human compound. The young fox demon Kit was perhaps being overly cautious, but this was the first time he had been summoned by Naruto-sama. He could not fail in his first hunt. Anari had been given very specific instructions. The Kit was only to speak to, or be seen by two people. The Hyuga compound was proving to be a very difficult hunting ground. Anari noticed that the human guards were unusually perceptive. Be patient, just like Shiboku taught, Anari thought to himself as he leaped down from the wall. The infiltration of the human sleeping quarters was a somewhat perilous journey. Anari had been certain several times that he had been discovered by patrolling guards. The young kid pounced onto the windowsill of the room with the strongest scent of his prey. Anari instantly ran into some kind of barrier. The young kid growled a bit as he felt a lump form on his head. He pawed the barrier to test its resiliency. This will be problematic, Anari thought glumly. Suddenly, a door on the other side of the barrier opened, and Anari heard two voices. There was no time to raise an illusion, especially in the Hyuga compound. Shiboku and Naruto had warned the young demon about the Byakugan. Indecision gripped Anari and he simply froze in place. Very problematic. Thank you for my meal, a young woman thanked an unseen human. Anari perked up at the voices. You are welcome, Hinata-san. Someone will be by later with information on the elders' meeting with Tsunade-sama. The Hyuga Anari could not see and barely smell replied. Hinata is the one Naruto-sama wished for me to meet, Anari thought excitedly. Unfortunately, the strange, cold barrier was in the way. The fox demon kid pawed at the barrier in annoyance and whined. It wasn't fair to be so close to succeeding and be unable to complete his hunt. Hinata had just finished saying itadakimasu when she heard the whine from behind her window. She turned and saw a small fox sitting on her windowsill. The poor thing must be hungry, Hinata thought as she put her food aside for a moment. The baby fox suddenly looked back, and its ears drooped. Hinata quickly crossed the room to the window and opened it. It must be about to rain. Please come in, little fox. I have a bit of food, Hinata said invitingly. Thank you, Hinata-sama, Anari spoke in the melodious tone of voice that defined his species. The small fox demon jumped off the windowsill and into the room. My summoner was right. You are very kind. Why you can talk? Hinata said in shock. But you are a fox. I am a summon of Naruto-sama. All members of my cult can talk, and my name is Anari, the summoned fox explained. Naruto-kun! Hinata exclaimed in a combination of excitement, relief, and longing. He is worried about you, Anari told Hinata. He summoned me in order to protect you. Naruto-kun, I miss you. I love you so much, Hinata thought desperately. Hinata was about to question Anari on how Naruto was able to summon foxes, but a knock on her door ended all thoughts of talking to a fox. Anari-kun, you need to hide. Anari nodded and was preparing to raise an illusion when Hinata scooped him up in her arms. She quickly moved a stuffed animal from a small pile in the corner. Hinata had never been so grateful for a lack of time to fully unpack her belongings or clean her new room. Anari nodded, a strangely human gesture in Hinata's mind, and became motionless in the pile of stuffed animals. Please come in, Hinata said quickly. The door opened and Hanabi skipped into the room. Hello, Wani-chan, Hanabi greeted warmly. The older Hyuga girl's curiosity was piqued by Hanabi's completely unsubtle attempts to hide something behind her back. Hello, Emoto, Hinata returned the greeting. How was the academy? Oh, you know, same as always. The rest of the day, though Hanabi drew out the last word. Did something happen? There was a tinge of worry in Hinata's voice. Oh, I ran into Naruto-kun, the newly elevated heiress answered idly. She smiled at her sister's wide-eyed and hopeful expression. And he told me to give you this. Hanabi pulled the letter from behind her back and waved it at her sister. Hinata nearly body flickered across the room and grabbed the letter. Thank you, dear sister. Thank you, you're welcome. I knew it would make you happy, so I definitely agreed to help you and your boyfriend out, Hanabi said as she hugged her sister. She snickered because she knew Hinata was definitely blushing. I can't describe how happy this has made me. Hinata fought back tears. After a moment, Hinata took the letter. I'll let you read that letter in private. I've got to listen to the elders complain about Tsunade-sama making fools out of them. Well, we'll talk later, Wani-chan, Hanabi said with a mix of annoyance and happiness. I look forward to it, Hanabi-chan, Hinata responded with a warm smile. The younger Hyuga girl left the room, rather reluctantly. Hinata closed the door and found a comfortable spot on her new bed. You can come out, Anari-kun, Hinata beckoned the small fox. The little demon squirmed out of the stuffed animals and trotted over to Hinata. Was that girl a member of your skulk? The demon asked as it flopped down next to his summoner's love. Skulk? You must mean family. Yes, Hanabi-chan is my precious sister, Hinata revealed. She reached for her dinner and picked up a piece of duck. Would you like some? The demon kid sniffed at the meat and snapped the piece out of Hinata's hands. The fox swallowed contentedly before looking up at Hinata's surprised face. Forgive my rudeness, I was just very hungry. It is all right, Anari-kun, Hinata assured the fox. She reached down and scratched the demon behind the ears. The fox huffed contentedly and started to drift to sleep. Hinata giggled and made a mental note to thank Naruto for sending such a cute guard fox for her. She nervously opened the letter and began to read. Naruto had clearly put his heart into writing this letter. The letter transmitted all the warmth and confidence that Naruto possessed. The last line burned itself into Hinata's memory and her heart. I promise I will never give up on you. One way or another, I promise you will have my response, face to face. You can count on it. After all, we share the same Nindo, Naruto-kun, Hinata said dreamily. Inari looked up and Hinata smiled at the small fox. She realized nothing more needed to be said. Naruto's letter and the presence of Inari were all the proof Hinata needed. I will wait for you, Naruto-kun. But I know that I will not have to wait long. Naruto slammed his palm on the ground and summoned Shiboku. Naruto's favorite fox summon bowed its head respectfully. Is there something you require, Naruto-sama? The red and black, two-tailed demon asked. Yeah, Inari never reported back in this morning. I need someone I can trust to find him and report back, Naruto ordered. Other than Inari's and Hinata-sama's well-being, what else should I report on? Shiboku asked. If you see Hiashi, make sure he isn't being treated like crap. It'll be scary enough asking him to date Hinata if he's in good shape. If he's coming off a really rough week, I'll be boned. Oh. Check on Neji too, Naruto added. Shiboku created an illusion and disappeared. Naruto took a deep breath and prepared to leap into the trees. He had a lot of work left to do. I need to map out the Hyuga compound from the memories my shadow clone sent me. Naruto checked off another item on his to-do list. The drastic option was looking like it would be the option. The Hyuga elders' attempts to stall Bachan were so transparent it was becoming insulting. I'll need to write that letter saying Bachan had nothing to do with this too, Naruto verbally reminded himself as he landed on a branch. Dude! What the hell was that? You summoned a fox. Naruto gulped as he heard Kiba's shocked exclamation. Akamaru whined in agreement. Well, Kiba, I'm glad you asked. Naruto lied his ass off. There's a very good explanation for all that. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and thought of a string of very impressive curses. Things had been going so well. Sasuke stared at the picture of Team 7. His gaze migrated left and the picture, his truly beloved picture, of his family captured him completely. Sasuke shut his eyes tightly. It was a futile attempt to block the images of his friendship with Naruto, the could-have-beens with Sakura, and the images of his parents murdered by Itachi. Sasuke opened his eyes and knew instinctively that his Sharingan had activated. He had made his choice. Sasuke was Uchiha before he had been a member of Team 7. He could feel his hatred slipping away. I cannot fulfill my duty, my destiny, as I am. Konoha will rob me of all my hate, Sasuke lamented. He rose from his position on his bed and began to gather his supplies. Sasuke stopped packing as a realization dawned on him. He had no idea how he would reach Orochimaru. Sasuke did remember that Kabuto had mentioned that sound was the dominant power in the land of rice paddies. Sasuke could easily head north and eventually reach the land of rice fields. That simplistic plan was doomed to failure. Konoha would deploy the Hyuga, Aburame and Inuzuka clans to track him down. He'd be lucky if he made it 40 miles. Sasuke snorted at the thought of Team 8 tracking him down. As if Naruto needed another reason to reinforce his new infatuation with Hinata, Sasuke chuckled at the dark thoughts swimming in his head. Sasuke looked out the window. A path to power will reveal itself. I know it. My destiny will not be denied. Neji knocked in code on one of the doors in the cadet branch wing of the compound. The room's occupant cracked the door open. May I help you? The older man asked. Yes, Hiroaki-san. I need to speak with you, Neji spoke calmly. Neji-san, come in, come in. Hiroaki opened the door and gestured for the young man to enter his small room. How may I help the pride of the cadet branch? You are aware that the illustrious council plans on sealing Hinata-sama at the end of the week, Neji said with contempt. Not for Hiroaki, but for the council. Tragically, yes. She was our great hope, Hiroaki said in a nearly broken tone of voice. Hinata-sama is our great hope for freeing us. I have come with a warning for my brothers and sisters of the cadet branch. The sealing will not happen. Uzumaki Naruto will see to that, Neji reported. At the mention of Naruto, Neji smiled darkly. How will the young man who defeated you prevent such an atrocity? I know you have great respect for this Naruto-san, but how will he aid us? Hiroaki asked as he presented Neji a cup of tea. Neji inhaled the aroma of the tea. He took a sip and chuckled. Knowing Naruto, it will involve shadow clones, loud shouts of "Where's my girlfriend?" and hopefully you couldn't take Neji if you actually fought him. Are you sure? The old cadet attendant asked in disbelief. Oh, I may have the wording wrong, but Naruto will undoubtedly storm the compound. He has admirable hate for the Juinjutsu for one born outside of the cadet branch, Neji said proudly. If you believe in your friend, then I shall believe in him as well. I assume this warning is for us to remain in the cadet wing while Naruto carries out his mission? That is correct, Neji confirmed Hiroaki's theory. And those of us who will be forced into enslaving Hinata-sama? The old man asked. Leave the Juinjutsu visible. Naruto will recognize it and not attack cadet members, Neji assured. Hiroaki sat silently for a moment. I will pass along your counsel. Thank you, Hiroaki-san, Neji bowed politely. He exited the old man's room and made his way back to his own quarters. Neji shut the door and smiled. So close, I would never have imagined that Naruto would fulfill his promise so soon. The Juinjutsu, it will be eliminated in my lifetime. My children will be free of this burden. My children will not be slaves, Neji thought in utter triumph. The emotion was overwhelming, and he shed his first tears in years. The last time Neji cried was the day he learned his beloved father had died. Your foresight is admirable, Hyuga Neji. A voice that was certainly inhuman congratulated the Hyuga prodigy. What are you? Neji asked in shock and instinctively activated his Byakugan. I am Shiboku, an ally. Naruto-sama, my summoner, has sent me to confirm your safety and that of Hinata-sama, Shiboku revealed. I know Naruto can summon toads, but foxes? Neji questioned. A memory worked its way to the surface of Neji's mind. Neji remembered an image his Byakugan captured during his fight against Naruto. Naruto's chakra had taken on the shape of a fox's head. In addition, the chakra had flared red for a moment. Had Naruto unknowingly tapped into some form of senjutsu? That could explain how he was able to unblock his tenketsu after my Hack Rokujian show, Neji thought. He only had a vague understanding of the principle of senjutsu. He had discovered a few texts during his clandestine studies. The concept had intrigued him, but none of the text explained the mechanism for gathering nature chakra. Neji had given up on pursuing the sage arts due to the number of unknowns and the potential risks. It is not my place to speak of Naruto-sama's abilities. I must find a missing member of my skulk within your clan's walls. Naruto-sama is concerned about the safety of both his potential mate and Anari, the kid he tasked with finding her. Remain safe, Hyuga Neji, Shiboku said before vanishing in a mist. Neji's left eye twitched. Potential mate. I know Naruto had received training from Jiraiya-sama, but I had hoped the Toad Sage's other legendary skills had not taken root. Well, what's this good explanation? Kiba said as he crossed his arms. Akamaru barked a few times, and the young dog's hackles were clearly up. Naruto sighed and closed his eyes. After a moment, Naruto reopened his eyes. No offense, Kiba, but I wanted Hinata-chan to be the first person I told this to, but I guess it can't be helped. I can summon foxes because I am the jailer of the nine-tailed demon fox. It's a long story, and I'm not the first person to have the QB sealed within me, Naruto explained. The QB? Kiba asked in shock. The legendary Biju himself, Naruto confirmed. You are a guy, right? You see, this is why I wanted to eat you. You can't even be bothered to remember my gender. And your memory is as short as your lifespan. I told you that I am the father of the demon foxes, the QB growled. How the fourth killed him at whatever. Kiba gulped. Naruto took a single deep breath. Like I said, it's a long story, Naruto said before launching into an abbreviated version of the story based on what information he possessed. Naruto still knew that the fox was hiding some very important details, but he wasn't going to press. This was a delicate moment, and he didn't want Kiba to panic and make the situation even more difficult. Naruto told Kiba about how the QB couldn't be killed because he was a sentient mass of chakra. Kiba listened intently as Naruto also revealed how he could tap the QB's chakra in times of great need. The entire talk took nearly an hour. Well, that's unexpected. But I do know that you aren't the fox, Kiba breathed out. Really? Is it because of how nice a guy I am? Naruto asked hopefully. Hell no. I know you aren't the fox because if you were the new incarnation of a Biju, I wouldn't have dominated our fight in the Chunin exams, Kiba finished with a smirk. Dominate? You didn't dominate that fight. Naruto shouted indignantly. Warden, I do mean to burst your bubble, but the other mortal is right. I was embarrassed by how completely outclassed you were, the QB added helpfully. Oh, stuff it, furball. Naruto growled out loud. I don't believe it. Did the QB just agree with me? Kiba hadn't been hit by anything that hard since Naruto's devastating final blow in his Uzumaki Naruto Rinnan. Naruto, for his part, simply hung his head in embarrassment. Yes, the QB agreed with you, Naruto finished with a sigh. You do realize that I'm never going to let you live this down? Kiba joked. You do realize I'm going to be Hokage and your boss? Naruto countered. Sure thing, Hokage-sama, Kiba laughed. A heartbeat later, Kiba became deadly serious. You're planning something. Something involving Hinata. Naruto took a deep breath and matched Kiba's seriousness. Damn right I am. There is no way in hell I'm letting those bastards seal her. I'm sure the Hyuga elders are going to do something to hurt Neji too. They are going to seal Hinata? Kiba snarled. Naruto had never been glad to feel killing intent before, but Kiba's killing intent was strangely comforting. I'm not going to let them. Hinata-chan. Naruto felt his own rage at the injustice of Hinata's situation leak forward. It's another long story. Kiba once again listened intently to Naruto's lengthy explanation. So, what do I need to do to help? Naruto smiled. First thing, we're going to need to get everyone together. I've got a plan. I'll get the rest of my team, Tenten and Bushy Brows. I'll need you to get Team 10 and Shino. Where should we meet? Kiba asked. We probably don't want to meet for training. That might encourage our senseis to tag along. The two of us are planning a party to celebrate beating back the invasion, Naruto said after a second of thought. It wouldn't be hard to convince them that we want to brag about how much we did. I mean, you helped save Hinata-chan from Cloud. I knocked some sense into Gaara. We have a lot to be proud of. We were awesome, weren't we? Kiba gloated. Naruto grinned broadly back. Hell yes, we were. You still didn't answer our question though. Where do we want to meet? Kiba translated Akamaru's sparks and yips. There's a rooftop park near the aviary. It's a quiet, out-of-the-way area. That'd be our best bet, Naruto replied. Sure thing, Naruto. Kiba started to leave to look for Shino. You're going to tell the rest of the gang everything, aren't you? You all are my friends, and you deserve to know. I'm also going to need your help to rescue Neji and Hinata-chan, Naruto confessed with a hint of nervousness. What's that phrase your sensei is so fond of? Kiba asked. I'm not a pervert, I'm a super pervert. Naruto asked. Akamaru whined as Kiba rolled his eyes. I've never heard Kakashi-sensei say that. Oh, sorry, for a bit I thought you were talking about Ero-sennin, Naruto admitted. He noticed Kiba's odd look. Jiraiya. But the phrase is those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are lower than trash. I don't think any of our group are lower than trash, do you? Kiba posed the question to Naruto. No, none of you are. I am proud to have you all as my friends, Naruto said with a genuine smile. See you at the aviary, Kiba said as Akamaru howled in agreement. Naruto turned towards Konoha and took off through the trees. His smile never left his face. They were going to get Hinata-chan and Neji back. It was still difficult to think of the hardships that had happened since the Chunin exams. The death of Old Man Hokage, the battle with Gaara, and finally, Hinata-chan and Neji's situation weighed heavily on Naruto. However, he had hope. If Kiba accepted Naruto even after discovering the truth about the Kyuubi, Naruto no longer had doubts about Hinata-chan or the others accepting him. Naruto found himself filled with hope and excitement. Iruka blinked twice as he tried to remember where he was. The last thing he really remembered was reaching across Sadao's bar. I was with Anko, drinking away my worries about Naruto's arrangement with the Kyuubi, and then Iruka struggled to recall the events of the previous evening. The academy teacher tried to rub his eyes but realized his arm was pinned in place, and Iruka knew exactly who was pinning his arm in place. Good morning, Anko, Iruka said casually. Quiet you, I'm enjoying more time on top, Anko teased sleepily. So, was yesterday really bad or really good? It certainly ended on a high note, Iruka admitted. What was driving you to drink? Anko questioned as she nuzzled into Iruka's chest. Naruto, what has that interesting brat done now? Anko was genuinely curious. She remembered the reports about how he had defeated Tsunade's Jinchuriki. Anko was aware that Naruto had really impressed everyone in Tien. The special Jonin wasn't aware of the details of Naruto's involvement in getting Tsunade to return to Konoha. All that she had managed to confirm was that Naruto was instrumental in the success of the mission. What hasn't Naruto been involved in? On the mission to bring Tsunade-sama back, he was involved in another battle against Orochimaru. Iruka lamented. He had faith in Naruto, but he also had an instinctive desire to protect the boy. Again? Anko shot up. She quickly straddled Iruka, and the look in her eyes demanded answers. Naruto told me about it. Evidently that snake bastard approached Tsunade-sama in an attempt to have her heal his arms. Iruka began his retelling of Naruto's mission. It took several minutes, but Anko listened intently. What a kid surviving being caught in the middle of a battle between the Sannin. Anko chuckled nervously. And here I thought he was just one of those loudmouths when I first met him. So did I, Iruka confessed. I get the feeling Naruto is going to keep making waves. Should be fun to watch, Anko hummed. Naruto had found Tenten practicing her shuriken. He had given her an update on Neji. Tenten had gotten so excited at the news that she had hugged Naruto. I've got to ask though, Tenten said as she sealed away her enormous collection of shuriken, knives and kunai. What is it? Naruto asked the unnecessary question. He already knew what Tenten was planning on asking him. How did you find out? The Hyuga have been doing a really good job on keeping anyone from getting close to the compound, Tenten asked. I'll explain everything when we meet up with the others, Naruto promised. Can you help me find Bushy Brows, Lee? He's probably training with Gai-sensei. Before I'll take you to them, I want you to promise me that you aren't going to keep me out of the loop, Tenten cornered Naruto. Tenten, I promise, I'm going to tell you and everyone all the details as soon as we meet up with Kiba, Shino and Team 10, Naruto assured his friend. I'll hold you to that, Tenten's tone brooked no room for argument. Naruto gulped and followed Tenten to Gai and Lee's usual training grounds, YOSH. Greetings Tenten and Naruto. Have you come to train with me alongside Gai-sensei? Lee asked enthusiastically. Actually, Bushy Brows, Kiba and I want to get all our genin teams together to plan a party, Naruto told Lee the partial truth. So, you wish to have a most youthful get-together? Might Gai bellowed. Yeah, but we're just planning it for now, Gai-sensei. Can't have a party without Neji and Hinata, Tenten interjected. Indeed. It is good that you do not wish to exclude your friends, Gai said proudly. He turned to Lee and flashed a thumbs up. Go with your teammate and fellow genius of hard work. Have fun, my students, Lee bowed to Gai-sensei. We will. Thank you, Gai-sensei. Naruto, Lee and Tenten exited the training ground. Lee noticed the odd looks Naruto and Tenten were exchanging. After a few awkward moments, Lee cleared his throat. My friends, is something going on? I don't know, I'm still waiting for Naruto to explain everything, Tenten pouted. Naruto sighed. I promise I'll tell all of you. We just need to get my team and then meet Kiba and Team 10 at the aviary. The two members of Team Guy followed behind Naruto. Tenten wasn't pleased that Naruto was holding back information regarding Neji's safety. Naruto decided Tenten and Lee deserved some information. He told them about how Tsunade was negotiating with the Hyuga. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Tenten relax a bit. He made a second decision and created a pair of shadow clones and sent them to the Hokage's tower. Why did you create two, Naruto-san? Lee asked as they entered one of the nicer neighborhoods of Konoha. One is to find out if the meeting happened or is over. The second is to find out all the details, Naruto explained. So, the clones are going to run around Konoha all day trying to track us down? Tenten asked. Nah, Shizen told me about this really cool trick about the shadow clones. When they dispel, I get all their memories. I'll know pretty much instantly when they go pop, Naruto excitedly explained the newest facet of his favorite technique. Tenten and Lee couldn't help but grin. There was something about Naruto that just drew a person in. I feel I should warn you, we're going to get Sasuke first. He'll probably be really unenthusiastic. I'll probably have to promise to fight him later or something. Fight him? Tenten asked. Her natural inquisitive nature was coming to the fore. It was also a nice distraction from her growing worry about Neji. She had never expected to miss the Hyuga genius this much. Yeah, short version, he challenged me to a fight yesterday, but I didn't really give him an answer. I kinda ditched him and Sakura-chan when my clone dispelled. I take it Sasuke didn't take it well? Tenten asked. No, Naruto laughed nervously as they reached the apartment door. Naruto knocked a few times. They waited by the door for nearly a full minute. Eventually, Sasuke cracked open the door. What is it? All the teams are getting together. There's something I am going to tell everyone, and, as my friend, you deserve to be there to hear it, Naruto said resolutely. I told you my position on the Hyuga, Sasuke said firmly. It's not just about that, Sasuke. Naruto had a slight pleading edge in his voice. Sasuke opened the door and looked to Naruto, then to the two members of Team Guy, before his gaze returned to Naruto. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief as Sasuke's eyes softened. Fine, I take it we need to find Sakura? The last Uchiha asked as he locked his apartment's door. Yeah, bushy brows, Tenten and I were going to get her after picking you up. Kiba's getting Shino and Team 10. We'll all meet at the aviary, Naruto explained. Sasuke nodded once and fell in beside Naruto. You haven't looked this nervous since we ran into the demon brothers. I had almost forgotten you were a scaredy cat, Sasuke sniped at Naruto. Naruto grinned broadly. It was good to have the old Sasuke back. Oh, I'm just scared that a mob of fangirls will trample me trying to bask in your oh-so-glorious presence, Naruto sniped back. Sasuke rolled his eyes. Lee and Tenten watched the interaction and were amazed at how natural Naruto and Sasuke's camaraderie was. Like I'd let that happen before our fight, Sasuke grimaced. The thought of his rival meeting an inglorious death by fangirl stampede wasn't a pleasant one. Sasuke, you really do care, the fox summoner wiped a non-existent tear from his eye. Humph, I just care about our fight, Sasuke mumbled. Naruto laughed heartily and slapped Sasuke on the back. Tenten narrowed her eyes as she took in Sasuke's reaction. Naruto hadn't hit Sasuke that hard, but the Uchiha reacted as if Naruto had doused him with scalding hot water. Sasuke rubbed his shoulder gingerly as Naruto laughed about Sasuke being an old softy at heart. Eventually, the young ninja reached a simple home in a comfortable civilian neighborhood. So, you want to knock or should I? Naruto asked Sasuke. Why should I? Sasuke groaned. Naruto and Sasuke started a nonsensical argument, and Tenten decided to take matters into her own hands. She lively stepped around the two arguing boys and knocked twice on the door. A man's voice shouted that he would get it, and the door opened a heartbeat afterwards. Hello, you must be Sasuke-sama and Naruto-san, a pink-haired man greeted politely. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. Oh, forgive me, I didn't see your other friends. Please come in. Sakura's father led the group into the home. Please, have a seat, I'll get my daughter, the man said warmly. Sakura. Your teammates and your other friends are here. Naruto nudged Sasuke. Please tell me I wasn't the only one expecting it to be Sakura-chan's mom with the pink hair. You weren't, Sasuke assured Naruto. The conversation died as Sakura bolted down the stairs. Hello, Sasuke-kun. Hey, Lee-kun. Any luck with your, book, Naruto? Oh, hey, Tenten? Sakura greeted her friends and comrades in a single breath. Greetings, Sakura-chan. Lee responded excitedly. Sasuke smirked a bit and nodded at Sakura. Naruto's pink-haired teammate blushed at the attention. Sakura's father, however, was not amused and glared at both Sasuke and Lee. It took all of Naruto and Tenten's self-control not to laugh. So why are you all here? Sakura asked. Oh, all the teams are getting together at the aviary. We're going to plan a party to celebrate beating back Sound and getting Bachan back to the village. Naruto easily shared the cover story. Does that mean Hinata and Neji will be there? Sakura asked hopefully. Her shoulders slumped as the devastated looks on Naruto and Tenten's faces provided the answer. Sorry, I guess that's why we're just planning, right? Yeah, it's why we're planning, Sasuke said, and Sakura caught the bitterness Sasuke put into the word planning. Team 7's Kunoichi cast a quick glance at Naruto. Well, we can't keep our friends waiting at the aviary. Let's go, Sakura said with a hint of forced enthusiasm. Naruto, Sasuke and Tenten shrugged and followed Sakura without a word. Lee, however, loudly agreed and followed the object of his obvious affections out of the door. Sakura, honey, make sure you are back before 9. Sakura's father shouted after his daughter. No one missed the emphasis on you, singular. Let me guess, we're not just planning a party. You've got some plan to rescue Hinata, Sakura pointed out the obvious. Yeah, but there's something else I need to tell all of you guys, Naruto said nervously. Sakura gave Naruto an odd look, but her teammate only looked towards the Hokage monument. She sighed and turned to Sasuke for answers. Naruto hasn't told me anything, Sasuke finished with a snort. Sakura turned to Lee and Tenten. The two members of Team Guy simply shrugged. They were as clueless as Sasuke and Sakura. The young shinobi reached the aviary without another word being spoken. Kiba, Shino and Team 10 were waiting at the foot of the stairs. Kiba nodded at Naruto's approach, and Naruto returned it. The park up top is clear, you want to tell everyone here or there? Kiba asked. We'll go up to the roof. I've got a lot to tell, and I'd prefer to just tell my friends, Naruto said firmly. Sasuke's eyes bored into Naruto's back as he ascended the stairs. The others followed Naruto up the stairs. Naruto closed his eyes, and everyone could notice the change as Naruto reopened them. His eyes had an icy feel to them. They were no longer the eyes of a prankster or a rookie genin, they were the eyes of authority. You guys might want to take a seat. This will take a while. Everyone but Kiba and Sasuke immediately took a seat. Kiba leaned nonchalantly against the railing of the rooftop park. Akamaru looked up at his partner and made a questioning sound. Solidarity, buddy. I know what Naruto's going to say, Kiba whispered. Akamaru barked his agreement. Sasuke crossed his arms and remained standing. He gave off an air of impatience, but Naruto either didn't recognize it or chose to ignore it. I'm a bit nervous, Naruto chuckled as he took a seat himself. Ino, Kiba and Chuji returned the chuckle. Ino and Chuji laughed because Naruto's demeanor simply invited them to share in Naruto's good humor, even if it was forced. Kiba chuckled because he knew how much an understatement a bit nervous was. Naruto looked each of his friends directly in the eyes. I'm nervous because, well, this will change everything. Isn't that a bit melodramatic? Ino forced out a nervous laugh. Naruto couldn't have immobilized Ino faster if he had used the Kage main no jutsu. Naruto didn't use genjutsu, ninjutsu or even a word to pin Ino in place. Instead, he simply looked his friend deeply in the eyes. No, it's not. You have all been lied to and your families have been forbidden from telling anything remotely connected to the truth. The words were disturbingly precise and biting. I should probably start at the beginning. The Yondaime Hokage did not kill the Kyuubi. The complete silence that followed was exactly what Naruto had been expecting. The reactions were also telling. Shikamaru was wide awake and had entered that strange pose Naruto had seen his lazy, but brilliant, friend enter during the fight against Temari. Ino was wide-eyed and had covered her mouth with her hands. Sakura gripped the sides of her dress top tightly. Chuji had put away his chips, and Shino had taken off his sunglasses. The Kyuubi is a living mass of chakra. He can't be killed like we can. He's way too powerful for that, Naruto began. He could feel the Kyuubi's satisfaction at Naruto acknowledging his power. The Yondaime did defeat the Kyuubi. He couldn't kill Kyuubi, so Minato-sama did the next best thing. Minato-sama. Naruto had pretty much practiced this speech on his way to find Tenten a dozen times. However, the more he thought about the night of his birth and the sealing of Kyuubi, the more the gears in Naruto's head began to turn. He took a deep breath and focused again on his friends. They were all looking at him in rapt attention. Minato-sama sealed away Kyuubi. Naruto gulped back his emotions. Why is it so much harder to tell this the second time? It is because you are going to reveal your mother, Naruto. You only gave Kiba an abbreviated version of the truth, the Kyuubi told Naruto with feigned indifference. Oh, and Naruto, your instincts are correct. Yeah, I guess that changes everything, Naruto responded in a bit of a daze. He hadn't even recognized that the Kyuubi had called him Naruto. I am not the first Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. I am not the first person to have the Kyuubi sealed inside of me. Naruto's voice was barely a whisper, but there was power in his statement. Your mother wasn't the first Jinchuriki. The first was Senju Hashirama's wife, Uzumaki Mito, Kyuubi revealed. The others were Uzumaki Mito and my mother, Uzumaki Kushina. The boy's tone became wistful as he mentioned his mother. Naruto instinctively longed to know more about Kushina. At his core, Naruto was lonely and craved a family. In the forest of death when Orochimaru hit you it was because of the Kyuubi? Sakura asked between shocked and desperate breaths. Why yeah, the snake bastard didn't want to risk me using Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto admitted. Naruto, Sasuke spoke up and snatched away the attention that had been focused on Naruto. You are talking about the Kyuubi like you know it. I wouldn't say know him but we've kinda got an arrangement, Naruto continued to confess. He heard the shocked gasps of the others and looked down. We created a fox summoning contract. Kyuubi doesn't want his kids enslaved or killed, so he suggested we create a contract. The Kyuubi nearly destroyed Konoha, Naruto-san, Shino pointed out evenly. Naruto had trouble telling if Shino was being cautious or judgmental. It wasn't my choice. I won't lie, I enjoy the rush of combat and destruction, but attacking Konoha wasn't a choice I made. An old enemy of mine ripped open your mother's seal mere moments after you were born, Kyuubi revealed. This man used the Sharingan to control me. See, could you tell me more later? Naruto pleaded. The Kyuubi mentally nodded. It wasn't his choice. An enemy of his attacked my mother after I was born and somehow freed him and used a powerful technique to force Kyuubi to attack Konoha. Naruto altered the truth, but did not truly lie. The young genin couldn't believe what Naruto was telling them. It was all too much. Unfortunately, Naruto had more to reveal. I have more to tell all of you. Naruto was suddenly hoarse. Do you all want to take a break? I can send out some Kage Bunshins to get us some food or something? Naruto, the Kyuubi is why you can create so many Kage Bunshins, isn't it? Shikamaru questioned. Why yeah, Naruto admitted quietly. Naruto, I think your idea for a break was a good one. Sakura jumped into the conversation. I've got a bit of money with me. Kiba recognized the need for a break as well. He had known what Naruto was going to tell everyone, and he was still overwhelmed. There was something about Naruto's second explanation that hit him much harder than the first time. Food sounds like a good idea. I'm always up for food, Chuji added his support. Eventually, everyone but Sasuke and Shino verbally agreed to take a break. Naruto created a large number of Kage Bunshins and sent them out into the world. Tenten took the opportunity to speak with Naruto privately while the others chatted or simply digested everything Naruto had told them. The Fox contract is how you found out that information on Neji, Tenten stated point blank. Yeah, Naruto said with a hint of a frown. Are you scared? I just want to know if Neji is okay, the weapon genius mumbled. I meant, are you scared of me? Oh well, not of you. You're still Naruto and a bit goofy, Tenten admitted in a completely natural, if distracted, tone of voice. Naruto couldn't help but smile at his friend's admission. I guess I'll need to let everything sink in. Naruto found he could only nod. The shadow clones returned and handed out the food before dispelling. Naruto watched all his friends talking amongst themselves. This should have been one of Naruto's most treasured moments. In some ways, he was sure it would be. However, there were two glaring absences. Neji and Hinata weren't with the others. Naruto felt a twist in his gut as he imagined Hinata talking with Sakura and Ino about some girl thing or another. When the Hinata apparition shot him a shy look, Naruto's heart broke. Hanako was grateful that she was not involved in the negotiations with Tsunade-sama. The Hokage was furious that the Hyuga had withdrawn most of the clan from active duty without consulting her first. Tsunade's anger was compounded by the Hyuga's knowledge that the clan had no solid legal grounds to defend their position. It was obvious to anyone that the Hyuga were simply stalling for time. Hanako growled as she realized that the transfer of power from Hiashi to the council had been delayed by Uzumaki Naruto. I knew Hinata should have never been permitted to see anyone. That foolish sympathy set all this in motion. Hanako raged. But we could not know that the Uzumaki boy would have reacted so strongly. There was no evidence of any romantic relationship unless... No, I refused to believe they were secretly lovers. The Hyuga elders shook off those thoughts. There was nothing that would stop the transfer of power. It would take some form of direct outside intervention. The Hyuga Council was confident that Tsunade would not risk intervention. Hanako smiled as she thought of Takashi and Norio's brilliant plan to present the negotiations as a matter of clan sovereignty to the smaller clans. As Hanako placed her signature on the letter from the Shugo of the Hosokawa Han, she had trouble deciding whether to smile or sigh. Hanako wanted to smile because this letter practically secured Hyuga influence in one of the largest Hans in the Land of Fire. It didn't hurt that young Miyako and the Shugo's heir were smitten with each other. Hanako was thrilled that such a perfect match had been arranged. Hanako wanted to sigh because she couldn't shake the worry that the entire situation could come crashing down around them. All because of Uzumaki Naruto. Perhaps we could poison him? No, we don't know how his death would affect the Kyuubi. Damn it, he's practically untouchable. The knock at the door was one of the most beautiful sounds she had ever heard. Please come in. Hanako-sama, Takashi-sama and Norio-sama have returned from their meeting with the Hokage, a cadet attendant announced. Thank you, Hanako said curtly. They are waiting for you in the chamber, my lady, the young man said as he bowed. Hanako slid gracefully through the halls and into the meeting room. How did the meeting go? Hanako asked the moment she entered the chamber. The other elders were there. We continue to buy time, Norio humphed. That is all we ask, my friend, Sadao placated. What concessions were we forced to provide to our Hokage? Tsunade-sama requested that Yumino Iruka be allowed to meet with the academy students and visit the compound, Takashi growled. He was a single push from being in a permanent rage. Yudai's death had been almost a physical blow to him. Yudai was Takashi's favored nephew, and it was an open secret that Takashi favored Yudai more than his own children. Naturally, the rest of the council had not told Takashi the truth of Yudai's death. How soon will Yumino Iruka arrive? Hanako asked. Takashi sighed. He accompanied us to the compound. Tsunade's majordomo, Shizen, retrieved him and Jonin Midarashi. They are waiting in the public receiving room. They should remain there, Hanako said quickly. We can bring the children to Yumino-san there. It is a larger room, after all. The council quickly agreed and gathered the Hyuga Academy students, including Hanabi. Hanako and Sadao led the youngest Hyuga into the public receiving room. The teacher immediately brightened and walked over to his students. Are all of you all right? The students nodded with various degrees of enthusiasm, but Hanabi spoke up. We're doing well, Iruka-sensei. That's good. That's good, Iruka smiled. I brought the assignments you all have missed. Several of the younger Hyuga groaned at Iruka's announcement. Sadao and Hanako made a mental note to communicate their displeasure to the students for their un-Hyuga-like behavior. Now, there's no need for that, Iruka chuckled. We can't have some of the Academy's most promising students falling behind now, can we? Listen to Iruka, brats. You'll thank him for this one day, Anko piped in. The young Hyuga could tell that arguing with Anko wouldn't be a pleasant experience, and decided to pay attention. Iruka-sensei, do you know when we'll be allowed to go back to the academy? Yoichi, an 11-year-old cadet student, asked nervously. I'm sure you'll be back very soon. If it were up to me, none of you would have missed a day. Oh, that reminds me, Iruka said in a comforting tone of voice. The teacher fumbled around in the bag, which had been checked by one of the guards already, and pulled out a notebook. Mishiro sent her notes. Yoichi blushed a bit as he quietly accepted the notes. His blush deepened as his little brother, Toshi, saying Yoichi has a girlfriend. Come now, we need to get started, I only have an hour. I want to help you all as much as I can in that hour, Iruka chuckled. Anko was the only one who noticed the disapproving glares Hanako and Sadao had shot at Yoichi when his blush had revealed the nature of his relationship with Mishiro. Ready for me to finish? Naruto asked his friends. They all said yes, nodded, or gave some other sign they were ready. Hinata-chan and Neji are in some serious trouble. Since when is it Hinata-chan? Chuji asked as he stuffed some pretzels in his mouth. Since Hinata-chan told me that she loves me, Naruto said sharply, but his tone was betrayed by the soft look in his eyes. But why are they in trouble? Ino stepped in. She saw the down look on Naruto's face. Naruto never looked down. Ino tried to remember that goofy, but a bit endearing smile, leaving his face. The only times she could remember were during his fight with Kiba, or when Neji destroyed Hinata and when he went off on Neji during their fight. Ino realized. This whole sudden interest in Hinata isn't as sudden as I first thought. Hinata's dad lost his position as clan head, and the guys who took over have decided to seal Hinata-chan. Naruto finished with a growl. What about Neji-san? Lee asked calmly. Lee's calm tone of voice was a bit unnerving. I don't know yet. I'm worried though. If the Hyuga are willing to seal Hinata-chan, whatever they are planning for Neji can't be good. I sent Shiboku to find out, but he's not back yet, Naruto explained. Tenten looked terrified, and Lee was clearly worried. Naruto-san, when will the Hyuga attempt to seal Hinata-san? Shino spoke for the first time. The end of the week. Hopefully, Bachan will be able to put the Hyuga in their place and get not just Hinata-chan and Neji back, but the rest of the Hyuga. Naruto crossed his arms and spoke authoritatively. Sakura couldn't help but smile. Naruto had always boasted how he was going to be Hokage. However, this was the first time she truly believed her friend's eager boasts. What's this about other Hyuga? Shikamaru looked up from his thinking position. I met with Iruka-sensei before Hinata-chan told me everything. He mentioned that the Hyuga had removed all the members of their clan from the academy, Naruto answered Shikamaru. The Nara Chunin grumbled something and retreated back to his planning. Don't the Hyuga realize how short-handed Konoha is right now? Ino snapped. We should do something. No, we shouldn't. Would you want others interfering in your clan's affairs? Sasuke asked sharply. Well, no, but my clan wouldn't be doing something so mean and stupid, Ino grumbled. All we should and can do is wait for the negotiations to finish. The Uchiha's voice was reasonable and even. His tone, more than his position, shocked his comrades and friends. The Hyuga are stalling for time. If we wait, Hinata will be sealed. I know that there's no way Naruto and I are going to let that happen. Kiba shouted. If you all are willing to risk civil war, then I'm leaving. Sasuke practically growled and started to leave. He stopped at the top of the stairs. No one follow me. We'll talk later, Naruto. Sasuke, wait. Naruto's plea fell on deaf ears. Sasuke simply left. The others looked at Naruto in pity. Naruto never wanted pity. I'll talk to him later. Sasuke'll come around, the leader of the meeting said a bit hotly. I could talk to him, Sakura suggested. No, I need you here, Sakura-chan. I'll need your opinions on this plan. Naruto sighed and shook his head. Thanks though, Sakura blushed a bit. It was an odd feeling. Naruto's tone had reminded Sakura of her brother's tone before he had left for the Land of Fire's capital. Sakura missed Kenji. Kenji would always be the most enthusiastic about Sakura's good grades and would reward her marks with ice cream. Sakura shook off equating Naruto with Kenji and filed it away in the corner of her mind. You're welcome. Sasuke's right though. We don't want to piss off any of the clans. Especially since we've still got that black eye from the Snake Bastards invasion, Naruto finished with a deep breath. Man, all this thinking and talking feels like a full contact training session, Naruto thought to himself. Well, your brain is your least exercised muscle, the Kyuubi quipped. You're not helping, furball, Naruto grumbled to the Biju. So, what are we going to do? Chuji asked. You guys aren't going to do anything directly, Naruto smiled mischievously. I'm going to do all the legwork to get Hinata-chan and Neji out. I just need you guys to help keep Neji and Hinata-chan safe after I bust them out. I'm not going to tell you who is going where though. Why not? Kiba asked from his spot against the railing. Because that way, no one knows so we won't have to lie, Naruto explained. All you'll have to know is that all of you are going to have either me and Hinata or me and Neji show up at your houses. Transformed shadow clones, Shino said admirably. That is a clever idea, Naruto-san. Thanks, it's a good technique, and it's hard to see through. I mean, if Kiba's sense of smell or Zabuza, an A-rank missing nin, couldn't figure it out, I think we'll be good, Naruto pointed out. Tenten looked excited. You could bring them to my place. My parents are on a trade mission to the land of rivers. You can make out with Neji after everything calms down, Tenten. Naruto rolled his eyes at his older friend, but Tenten pouted. I think this is a good plan, Shikamaru spoke up again. The only problem is how you're going to avoid bringing attention to the battle at the Hyuga compound. I've thought of that. That's why I'm not going to be very subtle, Naruto said firmly. Naruto, buddy, you're never subtle, Kiba laughed. Naruto crossed his arms and sat down. The chuckles of his friends weren't helping matters. Moving on. Naruto barked. My plan is to use my summoned foxes and shadow clones to quickly find Hinata-chan and Neji. As a distraction so we can all get out, I'm going to try to destroy the way to create the Hyuga seal. Naruto-kun, I do not mean to dampen your spirits, but it is likely that there isn't a device that creates the Hyuga's Juinjutsu. The knowledge of the seal is likely held by certain members of the Hyuga clan, Lee explained. Well, I'll still keep an eye out for something to stop the seal, Naruto sighed as he realized Lee was right. Naruto had been hoping he could immediately destroy the cursed seal forever. I guess Hinata-chan and Neji will have to help me figure something out, Naruto thought and was grateful that the QB did not add any sardonic commentary. Does anyone want to back out? If you don't want to get involved, I won't force anyone, Naruto asked his friends. There was a chorus of amen or other affirmative words. Naruto smiled. Thanks guys. You're welcome, Naruto-kun. We must forge the bonds of our friendship in the hottest of flames, Lee said enthusiastically. Sakura! Tenten suddenly shouted. Sakura jumped in shock. You are now my best girlfriend. I'll be spending the night when Naruto rescues Neji. Oh okay, Sakura chuckled nervously. She remembered all the weapons Tenten had thrown during her match in the preliminaries. Sakura didn't want to become a target. Don't look so nervous, Sakura-chan. I'm sure you'll have a great time. Naruto laughed as he stood up. I think we've had enough earth-shattering revelations for one day. I'm going to find Shiboku and find out how things are going in the Hyuga compound. The present Konoha 12 all agreed and went their separate ways after exchanging a few words. Naruto took a deep breath as he looked towards the Hokage monument. In that moment, he realized what would be expected of him when he became Hokage. Naruto had never felt like he was being pulled in two directions before. On the one hand, he felt as ready as he ever had. On the other, the scope of the Hokage's responsibility finally hit him. I'll have my friends to help me. I'll never be alone, Naruto's thought gave him hope. All he needed was hope. Sasuke closed his eyes and leaned against the tree trunk. After leaving Naruto's meeting, Sasuke had retreated to his favorite spot outside of his apartment. He came to this place to calm his thoughts. Sasuke still couldn't believe that Naruto had a demon sealed within him. If I become strong enough to defeat Naruto, I could defeat Itachi, Sasuke thought to himself. His thoughts were cut off quickly. Sasuke's mind went into overdrive and he instinctively activated his Sharingan as the wire tightened around him. Calm down, Sasuke. There's no need for your Sharingan. I just want to make sure you'll sit still and listen, Kakashi chided Sasuke. What do you want? Sasuke growled. To talk. You know, do that whole wise sensei thing, Kakashi said idly. If you just want to talk, why restrain me? Sasuke's growl became deeper and more animalistic. I could tell by the way you were sitting. Heck, everything about you screamed where your mind was at. I'll say this plainly, stop seeking revenge. Kakashi's voice took on a serious tone. Itachi must be brought to justice. Sasuke bellowed and struggled against the wires restraining him, and he will be. But Sasuke, what you are after isn't justice. Justice is a conclusion. What you're seeking is revenge. There's a difference. You need to ask yourself two questions, what else, and what then? If you don't really understand the questions, then you're slipping. Kakashi's visible eye softened. I've been submerged in this world for so long. I've seen cases like you more times than I can count. Every one of them who tasted revenge, they drowned in it. They were never satisfied. In the end, there was nothing. What the hell do you know? How can you even comprehend me situation? Sasuke raged. Sasuke Kakashi attempted to calm his student. The copy ninja's words died on his tongue as Sasuke's face changed. Sasuke's face took on a hard edge. It was cruel, enraged, and crazed. However, it was the ecstasy in Sasuke's eyes that froze Kakashi's blood. What if I killed everyone you really love? What if I slipped and became Itachi? Sasuke didn't rave or shout. His voice was even and every word was carefully chosen. How far would you fall? Maybe you'd fall to my level? Maybe you'd experience a fraction of my pain? Kakashi sighed. That would work. Unfortunately for me, I don't have anyone I really love. Sasuke's collected and smug look melted away. His brow furrowed and his jaw shook with fury. Just like I thought. Just another person who hasn't had their bonds stolen. How can someone who has never experienced loss lecture me about what I must do? Kakashi chuckled, but there was no humor in the laugh. It was a hollow broken noise. All those people have already been killed. Obito, my best friend and Uchiha, died saving Rin and myself during the Third Great Shinobi World War. Rin was assassinated a few years after the war by IWA. The village hidden in the rocks is a bit of a sore loser. My sensei was killed during the Kyuubi's attack. And my father, well, my father's been dead even longer than that. Sasuke couldn't speak. His mind couldn't form a coherent thought. In fact, his mind could barely function beyond replaying Kakashi's statement over and over again. Sasuke was even oblivious to the sting in his eyes and the dull pain on his arms. It was only when he instinctively blinked that Sasuke realized a bead of sweat had worked its way into his eyes. My life has been a long and hard one, Kakashi said softly. He was beginning to ramble. The Jonin was desperate to reach Sasuke with his words. You said that the Kyuubi killed your sensei, Sasuke said evenly. Kakashi nodded. Then how can you stand Naruto? So, he told you? Kakashi asked quietly. Sasuke nodded. I can stand him because I've lived long enough and know enough to realize that Naruto's the Kyuubi's jail, not the Kyuubi's new form. I had hoped, truly hoped, that you'd know the difference. The teacher and the student were silent for a moment. Kakashi shook his head and began the process of freeing Sasuke from his restraints. I'll leave you with one question. Have you ever realized that your precious comrades would help you bring Itachi to justice if you only asked? Kakashi disappeared and left Sasuke with his thoughts. Sasuke wasn't sure how long he had sat there. His thoughts kept going back and forth from his teammates to Itachi and back again. A sudden and subtle shift in the moon's light sent Sasuke's mind racing. He was up and primed for action in an instant. 4 figures landed on the branches a few feet from Sasuke's position. Who are you bastards? Sasuke snarled. The 4 sounds. The East Gate's Kidamaru, the first mysterious shinobi said. Sasuke shot a quick dismissive glance in his direction. Kidamaru was wearing an Otogekyo Hitaiite and had a strange body. The sound ninja possessed 2 extra sets of arms. Orochimaru's representatives, Sasuke thought. The same. The South Gate's Jirobo, the physically largest of Orochimaru's agents said. The same. North Gate's Tayuya, the lone girl introduced herself. She met Sasuke's gaze and challenged him. Sasuke responded to the challenge and noticed that the girl clearly didn't like him. Good, I don't like her either, Sasuke snorted. The same. The West Gate's Sakan, a very androgynous ninja introduced him, or herself. The Otogekyo ninja became a blur and darted around Sasuke. The attacks came suddenly and Sasuke could barely dodge and block. He needed to buy time and space to activate his Sharingan. Sasuke crushed the fact that he could only reliably activate his Sharingan when enraged. This situation was already dangerous, and getting angry would only make his attacks sloppy. Sasuke managed to block the girl's punch and used the momentum to leap away. He called upon his chakra to stick to the tree. Now! Sasuke roared in his mind and shot out at the sound ninja. He managed to land a flip kick to Sakan in the shoulder. Sasuke landed in a crouch in order to dodge a flurry of attacks from Kidamaru. The Uchiha didn't pay any attention to the third of the 4 Otogekyo ninja and positioned himself for the next attack. Sasuke caught Jirobo's punch and used the larger ninja's momentum to throw him into the other enemy ninja. Sasuke felt a rush of satisfaction as he watched the large man crash into the others. The rush quickly left as a haze dissipated and revealed a number of substituted logs. TCH, damn, Sasuke raged. What does Orochimaru want? Orochimaru-sama wants your prissy ass for some reason, Tayuya spat. He said I'd come to him for power. Orochimaru must be getting impatient, Sasuke taunted. Orochimaru-sama feels you would benefit from his training, Jirobo said in an icy tone. Humph, Sasuke grunted. He sent you all here to either bring me to him, or kill me if I refuse. Perceptive, Sakan said in an oily voice. We won't be leaving tonight, Sasuke said authoritatively. One or both of my teammates will be stopping by tonight. They'll raise the alarm that I'm missing. Konoha knows about the curse seal and will know exactly where I'm going. We'll need a diversion. Who the hell died and put you in charge? Tayuya spat. Sasuke continued as if the girl had never spoken. Our opportunity will come at the end of the week. I'll leave then. This was too easy, Kidamaru grunted. Would you rather have a battle and draw the attention of all of Konoha? Sasuke countered. I would rather make music with your broken ribs, but our orders were explicit. We will come for you at the end of the week, Sakan growled. The 4 Otogekyo ninja disappeared in a flash, and Sasuke re-entered his house. He hadn't truly had a home since Itachi's betrayal. Naruto sighed as he waited outside of Tsunade's office. He had clones carrying out various aspects of the plan. A clone had bounced ideas off Shikamaru and Chuji for about an hour. Naruto had made sure to thank them by buying some barbecue. It wasn't a huge amount, especially not by Akimichi standards. The meeting was a huge success, however. Shikamaru had made a few suggestions about which illusions Naruto's foxes should use. The idea to use sound-based genjutsu had never occurred to Naruto. Shikamaru and Chuji had admitted that until the Chunin exams that they had never even heard of sound-based genjutsu. Naruto had chuckled at the unintentional pun and earned a groan from his two friends. A second clone had just finished actually fixing Naruto's apartment door when Iruka-sensei had shown up. Iruka-sensei had come to check on Naruto, but ended up practically being interrogated by the shadow clone. Iruka had let it slip that he had visited the Hyuga compound. The Naruto clone had asked a million questions about Hinata and Neji. Iruka had apologized for not being able to see Hinata or Neji. He did assure Naruto that the other Hyuga children were fine. After helping Naruto test the new door, Iruka departed for a meeting with the academy headmaster. The clone immediately dispelled. The final clones were meeting with the others. He was mainly doing it as a courtesy, because he was settling on who Hinata and Neji would be staying with after the rescue. Neji would likely stay with Shino. Hinata would probably go with Sakura. The clones dispelled after completing their objectives. Naruto sorted through the influx of memories and smiled at how well almost everything was coming together. He looked up as Tsunade dismissed the Hyuga counselors from the meeting. Naruto jumped down from the tree he was reclining in and walked over to the Hokage's tower. He used his tree walking ability to come in through an open window. You better not be picking up any more of your teacher's habits. Use the door next time, Naruto. Tsunade growled as she rubbed her temples. Sorry, Bachan. I just didn't want to be waiting outside the door when the Hyuga left. Don't want them to have a reason to skip the negotiations, Naruto said calmly. Tsunade gave Naruto an odd look, and he continued to explain. If I'm hanging out at the door and run in after you kick them out, the Hyuga might think you aren't negotiating in good faith. The odd look never left Tsunade's face, so Naruto continued. What? I've had clones meeting with Shino, Shikamaru and Iruka-sensei all morning. All that smart must have rubbed off on me. Well, that explains it, Tsunade smirked. Have a seat, brat. Naruto took the offered seat. So, what word did the Hyuga argue about the meaning of today? They presented several contracts they have signed and made the claims that any change to the clan's current structure ran the risk of invalidating the contracts and harming the economic condition of the entire village. The Hokage snorted. Yeah, right. What could the Hyuga possibly have that could harm the amount of money we make? Naruto scoffed. A marriage contract between a Hyuga girl named Miyako and Iaso, the heir to the Hosokawa Han's throne, Tsunade reported. Hosokawa? Isn't that the province with that town Erosen and I found you in? Naruto asked. Tsunade nodded. Well, crap, they might actually have something there. They do and they know it, Tsunade acknowledged. Naruto, there's something else. What is it, Bachan? Tsunade leaned forward and rested her elbows on the great desk. I'm well aware you and your friends are up to something. Naruto tensed and gulped. Officially, I have to warn you that any direct action will be dealt with severely, Tsunade said firmly. Anything unofficially? Naruto asked hopefully. Unofficially, you better be glad I like you, kid, the legendary medic chuckled. Naruto didn't return the chuckle. I can't let them get away with this, Bachan. Tsunade took a deep breath and shook her head. If you do whatever it is you are planning, I won't be able to let you off scot-free, your Hokage. You can't play favorites, Naruto sighed. I know that much about the job. I'm glad you understand and are mature enough to accept the consequences of your actions, Tsunade said sagely. I better get going, Bachan, Naruto spoke softly. Oh, Naruto, one last piece of unofficial business. Tsunade smiled warmly from behind her desk. Naruto looked at the woman he considered his mother. No, not my mother. Kushina Uzumaki was my mother. Tsunade, she's the closest thing I've ever known though, Naruto mentally corrected himself. What is it, Bachan? Naruto asked in resignation. Nothing could have stopped me from doing the same thing for Dan. In the end, time ran out. The Hyuga had found a powerful card to play in the various contracts the clan had with interests outside of the village. I was hoping it wouldn't have to come to this. Naruto took in a lungful of the cold evening air. It was time to act. Shiboka had discovered that the Hyuga would seal Hinata at midnight. Naruto wasn't going to wait. The time to act was now. Did you really believe that it wouldn't come to this? The Kyuubi asked from deep within his prison. No, but I had hope. Naruto paced around the roof and looked across the street to the Hyuga grounds. Hope, the Kyuubi scoffed. I have learned that if you place your faith in hope, you will be disappointed. Well, wouldn't you know, Naruto grinned. What has you so amused, Warden? I never took you for someone who ever had hope, Naruto pointed out. The Kyuubi fumed inside his cage. I haven't had hope since the Sage of Six Paths died, the greatest of the Biju forlornly thought. Hey, furball, Naruto quietly interrupted the demon before it could speak again. Do you have a name? What? The Kyuubi asked in shock. Yeah, a name. I seriously doubt that Kyuubi is your real name. It doesn't really have any soul to it. You're going to help me save Hinata-chan and Neji tonight. The least I can do is call you by your own damn name, Naruto said as he nervously spun a kunai around his right index finger. The Kyuubi took a deep breath. I have been controlled, sealed, and degraded by your kind for longer than you can imagine. The greatest insult has been that none have ever asked for my name. You are the first to ever ask. Kyubi swallowed back the emotion in his words. Not even Mom? Naruto asked softly. Your mother rightly attributed her loneliness to being my prison. She was much like you. For years, only Uzumaki Mito could reach her. It was only after your father saved her from Kumo that she accepted another. You refused all week to tell me about my mother. Now you taunt me with details to distract me from my question. Naruto watched his hand quiver in anticipation, nervousness, and longing. Naruto, the Kyubi growled. He hated when his new warden got perceptive. My name is Kurama. Naruto bit his thumb and flashed through the hand seals. He completed the seals required for the summoning jutsu and slammed his hand on the rooftop. Shiboku and two massive fox demons appeared at Naruto's side. The two large demons were a strange conglomeration of flesh, brass, and stone. Naruto cast an appraising glance at his latest summons and was enveloped in a blast of steam that escaped from an oddly positioned pipe. Shiboku looked up and inclined his head respectfully. Well, Kurama, time's up. Let's get drastic. Neji took his place in the procession and desperately fought the urge to curse his fate. Naruto had rescued him from his fatalism. Neji needed to have faith that Naruto would rescue him from this tragedy as well. We could stop this ourselves if it wasn't for the seal, Neji lamented. The branch members were all veterans of many missions and most of the main branch had not taken a mission outside of Konoha in years. The discontent in the clan had been building for years, but Hyashi's stances had truly begun to heal the rifts in the Hyuga clan. The revelation of the truth of Hizashi's sacrifice had rid the entire branch of some of their bitterness. Neji had only been the most extreme case. The council's coup had caused that bitterness to resurface. The council had shelved Hyashi's plan to reorganize the clan's communal finances. Hyashi's plan would have allowed members of the clan to keep a portion of their mission pay before submitting the rest to the clan's communal fund. Neji felt his jaw tense as he thought about the base betrayal of the entire cadet branch by the elders. That reform would have been the single most liberating change in the clan's history. Only removing the Juinjutsu would have been a greater step towards true equality. Neji looked towards the three main branch guards. One guard's hands were practically twitching in anticipation. There was no way the 6 cadets could react fast enough to disable the guards. The Hyuga genius caught a glimpse of Hinata out of the corner of his eyes. He was proud of his sister figure. She was handling herself with dignity and bravery. Hinata knew Naruto would prevent this. Neji agreed with her. Naruto would do something about this. Neji just wished Naruto hadn't waited until the last possible moment. What is that? Neji heard one of the guards ask. Neji saw a small fox stalking along the wall, but quickly deduced 2 points. 1. It wasn't Shiboku. The fox's coloring, size, and number of tails were off. This fox was a small brownish-red creature with only a single tail. 2nd, the main branch guards hadn't noticed the fox. Neji narrowed his eyes as he wondered what the guards had noticed. A genjutsu. Neji felt the subtle presence of chakra and exchanged a surprised look with the other cadets escorting Hinata. It was strange, however. The genjutsu felt unlike any other genjutsu Neji had ever encountered. It was far more pervasive. The genjutsu was also localized around a specific area. We must warn the council that we're about to be attacked. The nervous main branch member shouted. Who would be brazen enough to attack us? Another guard growled. Before anyone could answer, the wall at the end of the hallway practically exploded. 2 massive creatures trotted out of the masonry dust. They superficially resembled foxes, but were a strange mix of the living and mechanical. Where the hell is my girlfriend? Naruto shouted as he emerged from the gaping wound in the Hyuga compound's walls. Neji smirked as he heard Hinata breathe out Naruto's name. The Hyuga prodigy turned to Hiroaki and arched his head back triumphantly. I told you so. Sakura and Tenten were sitting on the roof of Sakura's house. The 2 kunoichi were looking in the general direction of the Hyuga compound. I wish we knew what was going on, Tenten grumbled. We've just got to trust Naruto, Sakura assured her friend. She then laughed and shook her head. Me trust Naruto. What's so funny? He's your teammate, Tenten pointed out. I know. When Team 7 got started I was so upset about Naruto being on the team. I hated it. I thought he'd be the one to slow us down. I can't believe how wrong I was. Naruto's proven that he's not just a loudmouth braggart. Just? Tenten asked in amusement. If a day ever comes when Naruto isn't loudly declaring that he's going to be Hokage, I'll be very scared. I've just come to realize that he can definitely back up his talk, Sakura laughed. I just wish sometimes that Sasuke-kun and Naruto weren't so amazing. I feel like I'm being left so far behind. Tenten took a deep breath. Sakura, you need to give yourself some credit. You survived the Chunin exams and held off that sound team on your own for a while. It's not your fault that one of your teammates is a genius from a clan renowned for producing geniuses and the other is quickly becoming a legendary hardhead and can call upon the chakra of the strongest demon in the world. Thanks, Tenten. You've convinced me, Sakura said with a smile as she stood up. You're welcome. What exactly did I convince you of? I'm going to ask Tsunade-sama to train me in medical ninjutsu, Sakura announced. Tenten laughed. Lucky. Tsunade-sama is my hero, but I know where my strengths are. Chakra control isn't one of them. I'm good with seals and weapons. You mean all those scrolls you used in your fight? Yep, that was all me. I found a book in the academy and just studied my brains out, Tenten revealed. Amazing, Sakura said in admiration. I'm going for a walk. I need to burn off some of this nervous energy. So, what's got you more nervous? Naruto's rescue mission or the speech you'll give to Tsunade-sama begging for her to train you? Tenten verbally poked Sakura, Naruto blowing up a section of Konoha. He's never heard of the word restraint, Sakura laughed. Tenten laughed right back. Don't worry, Tenten. Naruto'll get Neji and Hinata back. Sakura slipped through her window and back inside. She took a deep breath and rushed down the stairs. Her father was reading the paper at the table. Everything all right? I lost the Janken match. I have to buy the ice cream, Sakura lied. Why aren't you going with your friend? Why is only one of you going? Yasakura interrogated his daughter. Tenten and I are working on seals. Neither of us really wanted to leave our work, so Yasakura pulled out his wallet and handed his daughter a pair of Rio notes. Treat yourself. But Daddy! I'm a ninja. I have my own money from my missions. Sakura protested. The pink-haired man chuckled. I can't help you out like I used to, Sakura. All I can do now, it seems, is to put a roof over your head. Just let me spoil you a little bit. Sakura smiled. Thanks, Daddy. Sakura hugged her father and took off. She needed this time alone to think. How am I going to explain Naruto's transformed shadow clones to Mama and Daddy? Sakura thought. That was her primary worry at the moment. The Kunoichi of Team 7 had no doubts that Naruto would succeed in rescuing Neji and Hinata. She also was confident she could get the Hokage to train her. The light walk and fresh air did her a lot of good. Sakura decided that it would probably be a good idea to actually get the ice cream and turn the corner. Sakura opened her eyes after thinking of an excuse to tell her parents, and what she saw froze her in her tracks. Sasuke-kun? Naruto grunted as he was knocked back by a blast of chakra-infused air. The blast had been stronger than expected, but it hadn't stopped Naruto from creating several Kage Bunshins. Naruto had, over the course of his short ninja career, discovered he could place his clones in strategic locations. The Byakugan rendered the surprise of the technique moot, but Naruto was a master trickster. He hadn't been counting on the Kage Bunshin to land a sneak attack. Instead, the entire exercise was a double feint. Naruto had the 3 Kage Bunshins engaging the enemy Hyuga. The 4th summon clone was standing behind Naruto and assisting the original in creating a Rasengan. Naruto grinned as the clones charged the Hyuga and dispelled. The chakra smoke created a minuscule opening. Rasengan! Naruto shouted after he felt the attack bite deep into his opponent. Unfortunately, the Rasengan didn't finish his opponent off. The Hyuga had managed to finish his substitution before the Rasengan had drilled too deeply into his shoulder. Naruto's annoyance was quickly replaced by a sharp pain as he was struck in the back by a vicious Juken blow. Naruto-kun! Hinata's voice rang out, but it sounded distant and hollow in Naruto's ears. I missed his genjutsu. Since when do Hyuga use genjutsu? Naruto thought in a panic. You arrogant child. I am a jonin. Remember, that Hyuga Ninode's gloating was cut off by a scream as one of the large summoned foxes pounced on his back. The large summon literally tore main branch Ninode's head off with a single bite. Thanks, Kitaban, Naruto said as he felt the genjutsu melt away. The summoned fox shuddered as a blast of steam escaped its flanks. Naruto recognized the satisfaction in the fox's reaction. Naruto, I am going to force some of my chakra through into your system. That should reopen the closed tenketsu on your shoulder and speed the healing process, Kurama contacted Naruto mentally. The Jinchuriki acknowledged the Biju but kept moving. Monban, the second living statue summon, was steadily losing ground to another of the main branch Hyuga. Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto shouted and immediately went wide-eyed at the number of clones he produced. He had only intended to make a few dozen clones, but had ended up producing well over 100. Kurama is pumping his chakra into my system. I shouldn't be this surprised. The mass of clones drew a number of kunai and threw them at the Hyuga attacking Monban. The main branch Chunin managed to pull off the Kaiten, but Naruto used the break in the man's attacks to close the distance. As the heavenly spin came to a halt, Naruto leapt into the air as some of the Kage Bunshins launched their own attack. Use Yumei-kai! The clones shouted. Naruto Rendan! The original Naruto finished the battle cry. Kurama redirected his chakra into Naruto's leg and increased the power of his warden's kick. The Hyuga landed very awkwardly on the ground. It was clear from the impact that the man's neck had been broken. Hinata had finally freed herself from her restraints thanks to Hiroaki's help. She remembered the mechanics of Naruto's technique from the fight against Kiba. Hinata knew that the true Naruto had been the one to deliver the killing blow. Wait! Naruto called out. Hinata froze as Naruto's clones and summons shifted their formation. What is going on, Naruto-kun? Hinata wondered as she activated her Byakugan. The wing had been surrounded by the elders and their closest family members. They were surrounded and woefully outnumbered. The elders and their lackeys advanced into the branch wing. Takeshi was at the fore and the Hyuga elder was snarling like a beast. Look at this collection of rebels and scum. The only scum I see here is you. Naruto snapped back. The horde of shadow clones echoed their creator's statement. You are a monster! A mistake. Now surrender or I'll activate the seals of all the cadets in this room. Kakashi roared. Naruto's eyes hardened, but he dispelled his Kage Bunshins. He wasn't going to risk Neji or the other branch family members' safety. I'm going to have to think of another way out of this, Naruto thought quickly. Naruto, how quickly can you start making a Rasengan? Kurama spoke up. Pretty quick, I just can't quite get the rotation on my own yet. Naruto was curious as to what Kurama was getting at. The fourth Hokage based that technique off the tailed beast ball. He observed it once during a battle against the 8 tails of Kumo. The fourth was worthy of a bit of respect for that, the QB admitted. I'm usually all for learning stuff about the fourth Hokage. But how does that help us take care of the king of all assholes? Simple, I'm going to add some of my chakra to your Rasengan. That will provide the spin and let you fire it like a ballista, Kurama explained. Sweet, but what's a ballista? Naruto asked the Biju. Kurama blinked olishly behind the seal. It's a huge freaking crossbow. Naruto couldn't help but smile as he put his hand behind his back. Kurama was pleased that he was fluent in Naruto essay. Then again, maybe Uzumaki essay is more accurate. You shouldn't be so trusting. Kakashi bellowed in triumph and began to make the hand seal to activate all the cadets' curse seals. I shall enjoy this. When I'm Hiya! Naruto screamed his wordless battle cry as he pushed his hand forward. He willed the Rasengan forward. To Naruto's great satisfaction, the Rasengan erupted from the palm of his hand. The compressed ball of chakra roared towards Kakashi. The Hyuga elder had no chance to even attempt the Kaiten. Naruto's attack decapitated Kakashi and kept going. The Rasengan struck a distant wall and exploded violently. The explosion caused the Hyuga main branch members to scatter. To Naruto's great dissatisfaction, the palm of his hand now hurt like hell. He had to ignore the pain. Hinata-chan, Neji and the other Hyuga branch members were all still in incredible danger. Kill him now! Naruto heard another of the elders order. The main branch Hyuga all charged at once. Oh shit, Naruto managed to force out, Naruto-kun! Hinata yelled and tried to run to help the love of her life. However, Hinata faltered for a fraction of a second when she heard Neji, Hiroaki and the other cadets cry out. Hinata still had her Byakugan active and immediately saw Hanako using the hand seal. The devious elder had not charged Naruto-kun like the others. I have to stop her. She'll kill Nii-san and the others. Hinata thought in a panic. She wanted to help Naruto-kun as well, but if she didn't hurry Neji and the others would die. Hinata cast a quick, worried glance to her love. I promise, I'll help you soon, Naruto-kun. Naruto was still drawing on Kurama's chakra and had summoned a horde of shadow clones to fight the Hyuga. The fight was even, but the main branch shinobi were beginning to coordinate their efforts. They had quickly recovered from the confusion of Naruto's projectile Rasengan. A massive wall of solid chakra destroyed nearly a dozen clones before Naruto could even curse at the attack. Naruto snarled at the looks of triumph on the faces of the 4 enemy Hyuga. Naruto could feel his anger building as he heard Neji cry out in almost unnatural pain. He had always known the Hyuga's seal was horrible. Neji wouldn't have been so broken by it otherwise. Naruto was more convinced than ever that the Hyuga's seal had to be destroyed. Naruto! I have an idea, but it's going to hurt like hell. Kurama contacted Naruto and spoke his best Naruto essay. At this point, I'm kinda desperate for ideas. Naruto shot back. What's your plan? I'm going to give more of my chakra than you've ever used before. The downside is that I'm going to have to force it through the seal. This will probably hurt, the QB explained. How strong will this make me? Naruto asked. He had chosen to ignore the will probably hurt part, though. Strong enough, Kurama promised. Naruto cried out as Kurama's chakra flooded his system. The Jinchuriki's eyes transformed into a facsimile of Kurama's red eyes. His whisker-like birthmarks became darker and wider. Naruto's hands became claw-like. However, the most striking change was the chakra shroud that enveloped Naruto. The shroud was shaped very much like a single-tailed fox. Naruto's shroud resembled a golden flame with the occasional red patch moving along the currents of Kurama's chakra like a wave. Naruto howled and countercharged the Hyuga. The battle had become a war. Hinata watched Naruto's transformation with her Byakugan. What kind of technique is that? Hinata wondered but quickly pushed the thought away. She had faith in Naruto. She also had to stop Hanako. If Hinata could not disrupt the elder's use of the seal, Neji and the others would die. In desperation, she attempted the vacuum palm. Hinata had rarely used the technique as she had never truly mastered it. However, Hinata knew it didn't have to be perfect. The technique simply had to get Hanako to stop. Tragically, Hanako simply jumped clear of the compressed blast of chakra-infused air. So, you have chosen a monster and group of traitors over the clan, Hanako sneered. I chose the man I love, and the only traitor here is you, Hinata spat out. She let her anger and frustration flow freely. It had been steadily building over the course of this nightmarish week. Everything that had happened to Hinata and those she cared about was the responsibility of this woman and the other elders. They could not be forgiven. Would you love Naruto if you knew what he truly was? Hanako challenged Hinata. I love Naruto for who he is, Hinata declared and charged Hanako. The elder continued to evade Hinata but was barely successful. Hinata had quickly closed the distance. Hanako's greater experience could only hold off Hinata's greater athleticism and use of the terrain for so long. You foolish little Hanako started, but her taunt was quickly replaced by a cry of pain. Anari had been silently avoiding the swirling battle. The fox demon kid had finally found his opening and attacked. Anari jumped from his hiding place and landed on Hanako's shoulder. Before the Hyuga elder could react, Anari bit down on the closest vulnerable spot. The small fox had bitten off the woman's ear. Hanako broke her hand seal to grab Anari and throw him away. Almost immediately, Hanako instinctively put some pressure on her profusely bleeding ear. Kya! Hinata cried as she continued her attack. She couldn't let Hanako escape. Hanako managed to block a single attack, but the younger woman quickly overwhelmed her. Hinata landed a powerful gentle fist strike to Hanako's gut. Hinata followed the strike with a sweet kick that knocked the elder off her feet. Hinata didn't spare Hanako another look as she rushed over to where Neji and the other cadet members were slowly recovering. She didn't know she had caused Hanako's stomach to rupture. Neji and I-san. Hinata cried out as she reached her cousin. Neji had grown pale and his eyes actually appeared a bit bloodshot. I will survive. Where is Naruto? Neji choked out. Hinata unnecessarily and instinctively looked up and watched as Naruto was battling with the other main branch shinobi. Naruto was moving so fast that it was almost unreal. Hinata watched as Naruto pulled his arms into a cross pattern in front of his chest. Naruto screamed a violent and wordless battle cry. A wave of air, one that greatly resembled the vacuum palm wall technique, destroyed any chance of a coordinated attack by Naruto's enemies. Hinata had never seen a technique grant anyone so much power. Naruto's attacks were seemingly furious and unrestrained. Hinata, however, had observed Naruto for a long time. She noticed three facts that assured her that Naruto was in complete control of his new power. 1. His furious assaults were facing away from Neji and the other cadets. Naruto, as always, was protecting his friends. 2nd, Naruto was pushing his opponents back, but away from the center of the compound. 3rd, Hinata was confident that Naruto's attacks were meant to incapacitate rather than kill. Naruto-kun, thank you, Hinata thought warmly. He's fighting the other main branch ninja. Do you need help? I can find a medic. No, we just need time. Help Naruto, Neji coughed as he staggered to his feet. I'll get the others out of the way. Get to Naruto, Hinata nodded at Neji. She wanted to stay and help, but she knew that the risk of someone activating and maintaining the curse seal was minimal. Thank you, Anai-san. I will fight by your side, Naruto-kun. I will always be at your side, Hinata swore to herself. Tenten cautiously walked down the stairs. She didn't want to disturb Sakura's sleeping mother. Mrs. Haruno had recently come down with flu-like symptoms. It wasn't very contagious, but the bug was quite nasty. Tenten was suddenly struck by the idea that Naruto might factor Sakura's mom's illness into where to hide Hinata and Neji after the rescue. She wasn't sure how Naruto would plug that into his plans, though. Tenten found it hard to get a read on Naruto. It was almost like everything about Naruto was designed to keep everyone as off-balance as possible. Tenten shook that line of thought off as she entered the main foyer of Sakura's home. Excuse me, Haruno-san, Tenten said cautiously. Sakura's father, Yasakura, appeared to be asleep on a chair. The older pink-haired man awoke with a start. Sorry, sir, Tenten added apologetically. It's not a problem. Did Sakura sneak in while I was asleep? Yasakura asked. No, sir. That's actually why I came down. She's been gone a while. Tenten was starting to get worried. She had entered an unusual mode of thinking that was halfway between being in the middle of a mission and being on standby. The closest experience Tenten had to this moment was waiting for her name to be called for the preliminary fights. Yasakura was out of his seat in a flash. Something's wrong. Anything that could cause Sakura to not come back quickly must be ninja-related. My daughter's too talented to be threatened by your everyday thug, Tenten nodded. She was honestly surprised by how perceptive Sakura's father truly was. Yes, sir, what's going on out there? He suddenly asked. I can feel it in the air. There's a tension I haven't felt since the invasion or the Kyuubi's attack, Tenten sighed. Sakura's father was very perceptive. The kunoichi frowned as she decided to include Yasakura in on some of Naruto's plan. Something is going on. There's a shinobi clan conflict happening tonight. Sakura and our friends were made aware of it a few days ago. 2 clans are going to war? Now? Yasakura groaned and covered his face with his hand. It's not so much 2 clans, Tenten confessed. It's more like Naruto mounting a rescue mission. Sakura's teammate? The concern in the man's voice was crystal clear. The other clan is doing some things that are borderline treason, Tenten explained. She truly believed what she was saying. The Hyuga had withdrawn dozens of active duty ninja, academy students and others from Konoha's already diminished forces. They were going to torture Hinata and probably Neji as well. The entire situation made Tenten very angry, and my daughter is out roaming the streets. Come on, we're going to find her. Tenten nodded at the man's order. Yasakura may be a civilian, but he had steel in his voice. He was quickly earning Tenten's respect. Let's go, Tenten agreed as she ran a finger across the comforting presence of her storage scrolls. Wait, Yasakura stopped halfway through putting on his coat. Tenten crossed the room quickly and found some paper and a pen. She quickly scribbled a note. Naruto might be coming by to hide one of our friends here. Tenten placed the note in the windowsill. It wasn't conspicuous, but a trained shinobi would notice the note easily. Yasakura nodded once and rushed out into the night. Shiboku was leading one of Naruto-sama's Kage Bunshins to Hyashi's location. The clone suddenly stopped and took a deep breath. Shiboku knew the reason. There were two very nervous Hyuga guarding Hyashi's office. Come out. You may be good at genjutsu, but we know you are there. One of the Hyuga ordered. I will distract them, Naruto-sama, Shiboku whispered. The clone watched as Shiboku darted around the corner. Naruto quickly used tree walking to maneuver his way along the ceiling. He knew that the Byakugan would spot him quickly. However, he held out hope that Shiboku's illusions would let him get the drop on Hyashi's guards. Literally, Naruto was in perfect position to attack. He just needed a good opening. Unfortunately, the Hyuga guards were a bit antsy and had begun to throw kunai at Shiboku. Naruto couldn't wait any longer and decided to try something. He had always wanted to try this ever since Kakashi-sensei explained how tree walking actually worked. Naruto pumped a ton of chakra into his feet and shot off the ceiling like a bow rocket. The combined momentum of Naruto's chakra-enhanced push and his solid taijutsu skills made Naruto's punch incredibly powerful. Naruto was confident the first guard wouldn't be getting up from that hit. The other guard wheeled around and shouted something at Naruto. The shadow clone wasn't really paying attention. He was thinking of anything he could use to gain an advantage. The clone had all of the original's memories and knew how dangerous a taijutsu battle against a Hyuga would be. Naruto pulled a brace of shuriken and threw them at the guard to buy time to think. The Hyuga simply dodged. That meant the guard did not know the kaiten. Naruto's jaw dropped. That was just wrong. This is insulting. How can a chump like you expect to keep Hinata-chan's badass of a dad from wrecking you guys? Shut up, you demon brat. The Hyuga growled and charged Naruto. The clone realized that he didn't have many supplies. He was out of shuriken and only had a few kunai. I might need those later, the shadow clone thought. Instead, he grabbed the closest item. Naruto tossed the well-maintained bonsai tree at the charging Hyuga. The main branch fighter fumbled to keep the priceless artifact from falling to the ground. Naruto's clone took advantage of the almost comical opening to close the distance and pummel the guard. The shadow clone nodded in satisfaction at his handiwork before walking over to Hyashi's door. Naruto was about to knock on the door when the exquisitely carved door was opened from the other side. Hiashi stood in the doorway, and his face gave nothing away. Naruto's clone, like the original, wore his emotions on his sleeves. The ability to simply hide away one's emotions was actually a bit creepy to the young man's Kagebunshin. Hi? Naruto asked nervously. Hiashi finally showed the first sign of any emotion, disappointment. Naruto actually flinched. He finally had an inkling of what this man had done to Hinata over the years. It was a cold and detached disappointment. The look was withering like a frost. Naruto could only imagine what years of being subjected to that look would have done to him. I probably wouldn't be able to be recognized myself after years of that look, Naruto thought. He now understood how years of Hyashi's overt and cold disappointment and the Hyuga elder's dickery had shaped Hinata. Naruto remembered the conversation he had with Hinata the night she had confessed her love. Hinata's goals had always been to prove her self-worth and to change herself. He really wanted to talk with Hinata now. Naruto shook off that line of thought. There would be time to connect with Hinata after the boss saved her. You chose power, Hiashi said coldly. Naruto looked up and his face twisted in confusion. Power? Yes, power. I had hoped that you would have placed my daughter's love over my knowledge of the fox demons. Hiashi crossed his arms and glared at Naruto. Naruto flinched, but suddenly returned the glare. Hiashi quirked an eyebrow at the sudden challenge. What are you talking about? Can't your Byakugan see what's going on? Naruto ground out the words. The boss is fighting for Hinata-chan right now. He just sent me to, check on you and ask if it's okay to date Hinata-chan. The Hyuga patriarch's glare intensified. I do not believe I completely understood your statement, Uzumaki-san. Hiashi-sama, Naruto started. There were several factors that led to Naruto using the proper honorific. First, that glare was scary. 2. Naruto was kind of trashing his house in a full-on assault. 3. If Naruto got Hiashi very angry, there would be no way in hell that he'd let Naruto date Hinata-chan. The boss wanted me to ask if it would, be okay if he took Hinata-chan on a date after all this gets sorted out. Uzumaki Naruto sent a shadow clone, in the middle of attacking my clan's ancestral home, to ask permission to date my eldest daughter, Hiashi said with undisguised disbelief. The boss couldn't exactly calm himself. The clone wisely left the unspoken. He's kicking the crap out of the elders for even threatening Hinata-chan and Neji. I bet Kitaban and Monban have eaten a few of those old jerks. Kitaban and Monban? Hiashi interrogated Naruto. Yeah, they are two of Kurama's strongest kids. They are totally badass looking. The boss really wanted to thank you for sending that information. The clone's voice was rising with naked enthusiasm. Hiashi had been trained since birth in politics. He could recognize emphasis and the message hidden in tones. Naruto was more excited about receiving what he viewed as a gift than the power said gift contained. I prefer to discuss these matters with the original Uzumaki Naruto, Hiashi commanded. He graciously chose to ignore Naruto's colorful language and complete lack of decorum. Though I am impressed that the boy is even trying to approach this matter in a civilized fashion, the boss guessed as much. He also sent me to make sure you were okay and provide backup. The boss had a feeling the elders would be holding something over your head to keep you from stopping this crap yourself. I was sent to hold it in place so you could put your foot down after the boss takes down the elders. The clone was so caught up in his explanation that he missed Hiashi's look of surprise. Your creator was surprisingly astute. The elders are holding many of the cadet branch children, along with my youngest daughter Hanabi, as hostages. Hiashi hissed at the elders' cowardly tactic. That's cold, even for those jerks. If you try to save Hinata, they fry the kids with the seal. If you try to save the kids, the elders stall long enough to seal Hinata-chan. We've got the advantage though. You've got me and the elders seem to have left only chumps to guard you. I'm sure we can get everyone else to safety. Hiashi listened to the clone speak. He wouldn't admit it yet, but he was beginning to be impressed by Uzumaki's reasoning. It was very rough and obviously not the product of study or training. Instead, it was instinctive. Still, there was potential beneath Naruto's gruff exterior. Follow me, Uzumaki-san. We must move quickly to prevent harm coming to the children of the Hyuga, Hiashi ordered. Naruto knew Hiashi should take the lead in this. The former, and Naruto hoped soon to be restored, clan head led Naruto swiftly down the corridors. Naruto paused and turned to Shiboku. You are barely able to stand, Shiboku, Naruto said gently. You can head back. I can tell how exhausted you are. Naruto-sama, I can still perform my duty, Shiboku protested. You can't if you push yourself over the edge. I thank you for everything, my friend. But go back home, rest. I'll need you in the future. Besides, I'm with Hinata-chan's total badass of a dad. We'll have this thing sorted out in no time, Naruto said as he knelt in front of the fox demon. Hiashi maintained his impassive persona, but internally was impressed by Naruto. 1. Naruto was showing some, admittedly rough, leadership qualities. 2nd, Hiashi was pleased that Naruto had a favorable opinion of him. Hiashi also found it refreshing to be referred to as a badass. It had been many years since Hiashi had been on the receiving end of any compliments that bordered on fan worship. He enjoyed it, but would never admit it to anyone. Is that your wish, Naruto-sama? Shiboku asked. Naruto smiled a quiet and graceful smile. Yeah, I'm not losing any of my friends on this mission. That includes you. Very well, Naruto-sama. I await the news of your successes, the summoned fox finally acquiesced. He disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sorry for the delay, Hiashi-sama, Naruto said as formally as he could manage. Hiashi merely nodded and pointed down the hall. The cadet children and my youngest daughter are being held in the guest wing, Hiashi stated simply. If we have good luck, the boss's attack has drawn off the guards. I wouldn't count on luck though. Pinning all your hopes on luck tends to backfire, Naruto said in a surprisingly mature voice. Hiashi nodded in agreement. The two shinobi quickly, but stealthily, moved down the hall. Hiashi exited the residential wing of the compound first. The second he took a step outside, he activated his bloodline limit. Hiashi had not activated his Byakugan previously. It was a chakra drain he could not afford. In addition, the seals built into the walls limited his expanded vision. The elders have Satoru-san, Shogu-san, and Yumiko-san guarding the cadets. They are young, but promising, genin. However, our combined strength easily outclasses them. We shall only engage them if they do not obey my commands, Hiashi spoke in a low tone that wouldn't carry far. Naruto nodded. There's been enough blood today, Naruto whispered. Hiashi was getting a true sense of the boy. It was clear Hiashi was making Naruto, or rather, that the chance Hiashi would say no to Naruto's request aid Hinata was making Naruto nervous. However, Hiashi was seeing that despite the young man's many issues and shortcomings there was a vast well of potential. Had his parents lived, he would already be a legend. The path to the tower would have been laid out before him from the moment he could walk. Though Naruto may have been forging that path on his own since his first step, Hiashi thought approvingly. Then let us endeavor to avoid any more unnecessary bloodshed. Hiashi did not wait for Naruto's response and walked towards the genin guarding the entrance to the guest wing. The three teenagers looked up in shock. Hiashi-sama how? Shogu stammered. The young man instinctively took a step backwards. Naruto and Hiashi clearly saw that part of his shock was due to Naruto's presence. Uzumaki-san's shadow clone provided a great deal of assistance. The elder's coup has been reversed. I, as your patriarch, order you to stand down, Hiashi ordered firmly. There is a battle going on, Yumiko said lamely. We were ordered to protect the children. There was clearly no deceit in Yumiko's words. Naruto and Hiashi noticed that Shogu was nodding enthusiastically. The Jinchuriki's clone and the clan had believed the two younger genin. Satoru's lack of reaction was very telling. Hayashi's eyes narrowed and bored into Satoru. The oldest genin was clearly afraid but held his ground. Naruto also glared at the third Hyuga guard. So, you were given the order to activate the seal, the shadow clone growled at Satoru. The elders entrusted me to ensure the transition of power occurred. Satoru tried to sound authoritative. Unsurprisingly, he failed completely. The combination of Hayashi's presence and angry glare backed by the symphony of Naruto's assault robbed the young man of all courage. I kinda think the boss threw an explosive tag in that plan. The elders have lost, Naruto hissed. As if the universe wished to accentuate the point, a Hyuga was tossed through the wall by a massive red-gold chakra construct in the shape of a hand. We surrender to you, Hayashi-sama, Satoru said quickly and took a shaky step back away from Naruto before bowing to Hiashi. A wise decision, the restored clan had said dismissively. Hiashi and Naruto walked past the trembling genin and into the guest wing. Father! Hanabi shouted and ran up to her father. The girl hugged her dad's leg tightly. Naruto smiled and wondered if one day he'd have a kid call out dad and hug him like that. It was something Naruto had always dreamed about. What's going on? Hanabi continued to speak and pushed away Naruto's happy thoughts. Uzumaki-san is militantly ensuring that your sister will not be sealed and that no harm comes to Neji, Hiashi explained. Oh, Hanabi chewed her lip. She was glad Naruto was helping her Oni-chan and Neji, but she wasn't sure she liked the fact that Naruto was waging war on her clan to do it. That means you're a shadow clone? Naruto nodded. Hanabi looked back to her father. But why is he fighting us? Because, Hanabi, I asked him to, Hiashi revealed without hesitation or regret. Iruka sat up in his bed and grumbled at the noise coming from his backyard. The academy teacher stumbled from his comfortable bed and worked his way groggily through his home. Iruka grimaced as the cold air assaulted his senses and snapped him